That's a great intro. Hi, guys. Welcome to Sit Down and Pile Drive, the new wrestling podcast on Color Circuit Live. That's right. We're breaking into the wrestling podcast business. There's not a whole lot of those, right?
Nah, there's like 50.
50? That's a lot. But we're the best. And this is episode 1, and we're going to prove why we're the best. All right. So, there's a lot of wrestling podcasts out there that just kind of talk about what's going down in the wrestling business today. And while that's all well and good, we consider ourselves more wrestling historians, really, where we want to talk about past events worth talking about. The product today, forget about it. Product of yesterday, that's a topic. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it's totally. Like, the history is important.
Exactly.
And you can't forget history, especially when you're trying to move forward. And, like, wrestling today is probably the best it's been, honestly.
I would agree. There's a lot of people that would want to complain that today's product is not nearly as good as it used to be. Jim Cornette, the internet, Randy Orton, Big Show, too many, way too many. But I would like to argue that today's product is miles ahead better than it was, say, 8 years ago.
Heck, even like 4 years ago.
Even 4 years ago. And we're gonna go through, and we're gonna kind of walk you guys through, and we're also gonna reminisce, because this was around the time that you and I met.
Yeah.
With our friend Josh in theater, and all three of us were like, "You're a wrestling nerd? Oh God!"
Yeah. The way I became friends with Josh and through you because we made the same joke that happened on Raw the night before.
Yeah.
I said it was a Jerry Lawler, like, one of his like quick like quips that he always does. It was one of those like, I think it was Beth Phoenix and Santino Marella, and he's just like, "Yeah, he wears the pants in the relationship, but she tells him when to wear them." And I said the same thing the next day, and Josh went, "You watch Raw."
I forgot exactly what it was, but you guys were doing a skit or something for drama.
Yeah.
And Josh I think he was John Cena or something. And I flipped out because I thought I was the only like wrestling fan in that classroom. But I was like, oh my God, I got to talk to these guys. So we're going to be talking about the era of wrestling between 2009, kind of. We're just going to kind of brush on that one, but really we're going to be focused on 2010 to 2012 because that is this is around the time that WWE fully became PG. They used to be TV-14, and then they decided, no, we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to be PG. We're going to cater towards advertisers and children.
No bad words.
No bad words. No blood. No chair shots. No tables. Nothing. No, I hate you. It was a mess.
All just like, hey, duty face. Hey, yeah, duty face.
I'd probably appreciate it if someone was like, you duty face.
Well, dude, like, you remember that promo when like CM Punk was when he left WWE and he was on Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
And he was like talking. He like had this little kid, like his friend's kid, who was a big John Cena fan, and he was talking to him about CM Punk. CM Punk walks in. He's like, "Sorry that my vernacular far exceeds your ability to comprehend, but let me put this in words that you understand. John Cena is a doo-doo head." And I was like, that is the funniest thing ever.
We're going to be talking about CM Punk a lot.
God, I love him.
All right. So, I mean, we really can't, as much as I originally, when I came up with this, I wanted to start at WrestleMania 26. And then I kind of realized that I can't complain about the product until I get into WrestleMania 25. See, the reason I wanted to talk about this in regards to today's product is because there's a lot of parallels between wrestling now and wrestling today. WrestleMania 25, again, it's really the start of the PG era during WrestleMania 25. There's not a whole lot to go into. The big matches are John Cena takes on Big Show and Edge. Who goes over on that? I want you to guess. Don't look at the John Cena versus Big Show and Edge.
John Cena.
John Cena.
Yeah, that was actually the one where he lifted both of them up and did the double AA.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
I mean, it was really
really cool.
Full disclosure. I like John Cena.
I used to hate John Cena. Now I like John Cena.
During this period of time,
I thought it was really cool because I hated John Cena.
Same.
So
during this period of time, though, super easy to not like John Cena.
Right.
Super easy. He kind of made it. We also had Triple H defeat Randy Orton in a not a great match. The storyline was Randy Orton attacked all of Triple H's family and made his life a living hell. But the WrestleMania match, which is seen as the finale match, if Triple H got disqualified, he not only would lose the match, but he would lose the title. But the storyline dictated that he should probably attack Randy Orton a bunch of times. But they went, nope, PG. But the only match really worth discussing at WrestleMania 25 is Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. It's an amazing match. It went for 30 minutes, almost 31 minutes.
30 minutes? Jeez.
And I won't do the play-by-play, but I will say one of the things I really do appreciate about this match is it's just a match.
Yeah, like that was one thing I remember about it was like I don't remember it being so like it wasn't hyped.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels
kind of just like Shawn Michaels wants to fight Undertaker.
Shawn Michaels won the right to face Undertaker against Vladimir Kozlov. I think he ended Vladimir Kozlov's winning streak.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it was basically Shawn Michaels would come out and he super kicked Undertaker while the Undertaker wasn't paying attention. It was basically, I can beat you. I'm Shawn Michaels. I can beat you. Which you don't see that very often at WrestleMania. You see tons of like really like deep, not always well thought out storylines. But this was seriously just, I'm Shawn Michaels. I can beat you. You've never beaten me. I can do it.
Yeah, because their careers have kind of paralleled throughout the years. You know, they were in the first Hell in a Cell. You know, things. It's just a lot of like parallels because like Undertaker's rise to prominence was around the same time as Shawn Michaels.
Oh yeah, and
they were just two separate sides of the spectrum.
I think the only times they really fought each other, I mean, Shawn Michaels won every match up until that point.
Really?
He beat Undertaker in.
They had the match with. Was it Bret Hart as the referee? Or was it...
Yeah, they had that match. Yeah. They had the match. They had the Hell in a Cell match, which saw Kane's debut. He tombstone pile drived Undertaker. Shawn Michaels won.
It's gotta be Kane! It's gotta be Kane!
Yes! You know, thank God for the 90s because I don't think Kane would have worked in any other era.
Kane is the best, dude. Like I don't know what anybody's talking about. Kane is awesome.
Kane is.
If you're watching and you hate Kane, I don't like you. Kane is the best.
I love Kane. I think Kane was awesome once, and it was when he debuted.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. I don't know. Like, well, we'll get off track.
Yeah. They had a match at In Your House Ground Zero. I think it's one of the In Your Houses. It ended in a no contest.
Okay.
I actually the In Your House DVD, awesome. Then they had their casket match, which saw Kane put Undertaker in the casket, but that was also that's when Shawn Michaels injured his back.
My neck.
I lost my smile.
Lost my smile.
Forcing him to retire after WrestleMania 14.
Right.
So then Shawn Michaels comes back. He's a good guy. Undertaker and Shawn Michaels don't really cross paths this entire time. So when they fight each other at WrestleMania 25, you have basically face versus face, which is rare.
Right.
And they just go at it, and they tear the house down. There's no, I mean, like, imagine someone trying to tell Undertaker and Shawn Michaels how to do their match.
Yeah, I know.
Just like you guys aren't going to rehearse your match? No.
Yeah, that's like telling Bill Gates how to program.
Just make sure Jimmy Snuka, Jimmy Snuka's son, Sim Snuka, is.
Just make sure he catches me. That's
just
like
make sure.
One job.
He said he's going to catch you. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Totally missed.
It's at one point Shawn Michaels does a moonsault to try and hit Undertaker on the floor. Undertaker just smacks him onto the floor. Yeah. It's incredible to watch because it's like, oh man. Match goes back and forth at a whole bunch of times. I mean, it's near fall after near fall. And then at one point, and I'm sorry, as scary as this spot is, it makes the match. You show anybody that match. When Undertaker goes up and he does the top rope suicide dive and lands on nothing.
Yeah.
Because like the camera shows Shawn Michaels standing there just kind of staring at Sim Snuka.
Yeah.
And then when Undertaker jumps, you see him push him in front of him like, you're supposed to be over here.
It honestly looked like really realistic. Like if you're trying to suspend disbelief, that was like the best way.
Oh, he almost
because like in that situation, if you're a camera guy looking at the situation, like you see a 300-pound man jumping at you, you're gonna be like, oh no.
If you didn't know that he was missing his spot, you wouldn't have known. But Undertaker, knowing that, Undertaker almost died.
Right. Right.
So he does the flip. He does a full-on flip, lands, I think, like right on his shoulders.
Yeah.
But he had to basically do a front flip in order to not seriously injure himself. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. The match ends when Shawn Michaels goes to do a moonsault, Undertaker catches him, does a tombstone pile driver. 1, 2, 3. It's an amazing match, and you should definitely check it out on the WWE Network. They're not paying us, but I'm going to plug them anyway.
It won Match of the Year that year, right? With
It
the
won
WWE
match.
polls?
Yeah, and honestly, I do think it's better than the follow-up.
Do you?
I do. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I love the storyline. I think it works, but I think just in a bubble, better match.
Yeah, well, because with the stakes, it was a lot of like false finishes and things like that, which is a pro or a con depending on who does it. And I felt like the second match was all about like hype, and it was about like the streak versus the career.
Exactly.
You were invested into the characters. You wanted one to win whatever side you're on. And you also didn't want either of them to win. You didn't want the streak to be over. You didn't want Shawn Michaels to go away. It was one of those things where it's just like, it has to happen.
I think it's one of those very few times where the streak could end.
Yeah.
When it was streak versus career, he's obviously going to Undertaker's obviously going to win.
Right.
The next time when it's Triple H versus Undertaker, there's only one moment where I did truly think Triple H might win it, but the entire time I'm like, Undertaker's going to win. And we'll talk about that because we were both like, oh, man.
I remember thinking, I was like, Triple H is going to bury Undertaker, isn't he? I really did.
I think of all the people Triple H could possibly bury, I think the one person he could not get away with is Undertaker. If he was like, I go over Taker, everyone in that room would look at him and go, no, next. All right. So, and some other matches of WrestleMania 25 while we're at it. Santina, who is Santino Marella.
No, it's not. That's his sister.
Yeah, you're right. Wins Miss WrestleMania. This is where the women's division is at this point in time.
Can you believe that was only like 9 years ago?
I can't believe that match got to be 7 minutes.
It was a battle royal.
I mean, we should. I want to devote an entire podcast just to women's wrestling.
Right.
Because it's ridiculous how important it is now versus just 4 years ago where it was.
Yeah, I know. Well, we always said, like, I said the first match I saw that really, like, changed women's wrestling for me, because I'll admit, I was one of those people who was like, women's wrestling, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Because, like, it just wasn't presented in a way that was, like, appealing to me.
It was hard to care about it because WWE didn't make it worth caring about.
Right. And the first match that I saw that really, like, changed my mind was Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch. Honestly, it was the first time I went, oh.
I'd have to say the match that changed my perception, and it's hard because I only really liked one of these wrestlers, was Caitlyn versus Eve Torres.
I don't remember that match at all.
It's fine. It's when Caitlyn won the title, and it was so she could drop the title to AJ Lee.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I actually liked.
Was that like the one time she won the title?
Yeah, that was the one time she won the title.
Yeah.
The other matches worth noting, Chris Jericho defeated Jimmy Snuka, Ricky Steamboat, and Roddy Piper. The only thing really worth noting is Mickey Rourke comes out to do a really bad segment after the match because he's promoting the movie The Wrestler, so they get all of these washed-up wrestlers.
Yeah, I know.
Although Ricky Steamboat can still go. We learned that lesson at WrestleMania 25. And so Mickey Rourke comes out after the match and punches Chris Jericho in the face. That's the whole thing. Matt Hardy defeated Jeff Hardy in an Extreme Rules match. That
was for the ECW Championship, wasn't it?
No, it was a grudge match. Matt Hardy had cost Jeff Hardy the title.
Okay. Wasn't Matt Hardy the ECW champion though?
Not at that time.
Okay. I remember because he betrayed him when Jeff Hardy won the world title.
Yeah, and then Edge. They didn't even defend the ECW title at this WrestleMania. And then CM Punk won his second straight Money in the Bank match. Which would lead him to some very good stuff that we'll talk about. I'm just going to let you guys know there's going to be a lot of CM Punk praise here.
CM Punk is what got me back into wrestling.
Oh, he's the best. Anyway, he should come back. Stop doing the UFC. Stop it. You're not good at it. Next up, we've got, we're going to be talking about some key figures of the 2009 to 2012 era. First up, we got this guy, John Cena.
Who's that?
Oh, you can't see him?
No, I don't.
There we go.
All I see is some text that says John Cena.
He is apparently the top face of the company.
Top face?
He looks like Matt Damon.
He kind of does.
Yeah.
I never even thought about
if you're ever able to see John Cena, get that joke out of the way. Let's just get it out.
Yeah, it's fine.
You'll go, that guy looks like a really buff Matt Damon.
I always thought he would play a good Frankenstein's monster. Like, if they were ever, like, make another Frankenstein monster, totally cast John Cena. I don't know how you're going to make Frankenstein talk, because he can't talk, but he looks exactly like Frankenstein.
I think John Cena.
Put some bolts in his neck, he's good.
I think what we were witnessing was a few years of John Cena just not caring.
No, I think it was more of like, you're trying to find your place in this world. Like, you're trying to make a mark, and you have to be cutthroat at that, especially at that time.
Yeah, and I mean,
you know,
he's John effing Cena.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to go over John effing Cena, you need to be blank effing blank. If you're the Miz, fuck off.
Yeah, I know. I like how you said effing, and then you just said fuck off.
Yeah, I just want everybody to know where I'm coming from here.
Yeah. No.
Oh, sorry, guys. We are sorry, guys.
Man.
I'm a beat of my own drum type of person. I'm not going to read all of the bullet points here, but, John Cena during this time, he is obviously the company guy. He's the guy who you see on all of the merchandise. Kids love him. Women allegedly love him.
No, he was like the modern day Hulk Hogan. And that's I understood that, because they were trying to make the product more towards kids, and at the time where kids were watching a lot of wrestling was when Hogan was on top.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that they would try to find like another icon that fits that role.
It's such a dramatic shift from like the Kurt Angles and the Triple H's and the Stone Colds and the Rocks and all of these kind of these guys pushing the envelope a little bit.
Yeah.
Both in terms of their promos and their wrestling, to go straight back to the 80s.
Yeah.
Good guy wins. End of story.
Well, that's why I feel like we're like on the cusp.
Yeah.
I was telling you this before we started, but like I feel like we're on the cusp of something big with wrestling in the next 5 years, like something really, really big.
Are you telling me that every 20 years we're going to have to always go back to the 1980s style of wrestling?
You got to think about it like Star Wars prequels.
Oh, man.
They suck, but they're for kids.
That's true.
And Star Wars, the original series, was targeted towards kids in that time. And those kids grew up. And then now the kids who grew up with the prequels, who defend the prequels, they defend them.
Prequels can die in a fire.
So right now we're at that cool point where the people who grew up with the prequels are like age of the people who were like when the prequels came out.
So how do you feel about the third one, though?
The third one?
Yeah, I know.
Revenge of the
Sith?
Sith?
And watched it?
I have not.
It is garbage. It's really bad.
Revenge of the Sith is okay.
It was okay when it came out. If you go back and watch it right now, it's garbage.
But you got to consider, it's like you have the worst father ever, and then a really bad stepfather, and then a second stepfather who's, he's fine. He doesn't hit me.
I mean,
That's Revenge of the Sith.
But wrestling.
Anyway, I think the problem, especially during this time, because during this time is when, I started going on the internet about wrestling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And everybody, it was just constant negativity about John Cena. And I think the problem, at least with WWE product, this is a WWE only episode of our podcast.
Yeah.
Is he was it. Like, you didn't have any other, like Triple H, his career kind of started to wind down during this time period.
Yeah.
The Undertaker's career started to wind down during this period. And Jeff Hardy left after WrestleMania 25.
Right.
So the only face you really had who was like a main event guy was John Cena.
Yeah, and also he was like the only face on Raw.
Yeah.
Like the flagship show. Because like it seemed to be like John Cena and then all his opponents.
Because they
and then
turned
you go to
CM Punk
SmackDown.
heel.
I think SmackDown at this time was doing the SmackDown 6, which was like the best. It was like CM Punk, Undertaker,
Jeff Hardy,
Rey Mysterio, and two others I'm forgetting.
Dave Batista.
Batista, right.
And that 5.
I thought it was the SmackDown 6.
No, that was when Eddie Guerrero, Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar, John
right.
Cena.
But at that time, they had a lot of great talent on
Yeah.
SmackDown, and
then
Raw was just like
Shawn
John
Michaels.
Cena and then all his rivals.
Yeah.
So like,
When Batista got started, it was Randy Orton, Batista, and Triple H, right?
With Ric Flair's Evolution, yeah.
Yeah, they were.
and it was originally supposed to be Mark Jindrak.
Mark Jindrak.
Yeah. Mark
We saw him
the
live as
reflection
Marco-
of perfection.
We
Mark
saw him
Jindrak.
live, Marco
Yeah.
Corleone.
Marco Corleone. Dude, I didn't even know that was Marco Corleone. Marco Corleone, I did not know was Mark Jindrak.
Dude, after we saw that Lucha Libre USA show, I just started researching. We saw Paul London.
Dude, we saw Petey Williams give a Canadian destroyer.
I know.
You have no idea how much that means to me.
And we got 2 guys to chant with us, Petey Williams.
Yeah.
We did the Petey Pump chant.
Petey
Anyway.
Pump.
So John Cena, he's really like dominating everything after WrestleMania 25. I mean, like the only guy who can get over him is Edge.
Yeah, and even that, it was more.
He needs
like,
the Big Show to do
like-
it for him.
Yeah, I know. And Edge, he was a great bad guy, but like even him, I think he had a little more like you're the exception to what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
I felt like more people hated him just because he was a jerk rather than from his heel work.
I
Because like he had a lot of heat from the whole Lita Matt Hardy thing, and it kind of just carried over. And it wasn't until he came back for the Royal Rumble that he really kind of like became more of a star than he was like just another guy.
I got to say this about Edge. When he got injured, when him and Chris Jericho became their tag team, and he got injured,
Yeah.
it was during that time I really grew to appreciate Edge as a wrestler because I realized, man, I miss Edge. I miss him as a heel because that's when The Miz is the top heel and The Miz is garbage.
Yeah.
During this
love
time,
The Miz.
The Miz was garbage.
I remember specifically saying The Miz is the best at this time because I love The Miz. He's not the best wrestler, but I felt like he was so charismatic and he knew his role.
I think you could tell that he was in over his head. He was doing his best.
Yeah.
But you could tell right away you were not ready for the
I have a
opportunity you've been
question. I have
given.
a question for you.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on the Money in the Bank? Like for real?
I think the Money in the Bank should be done away with.
I think it ruined more careers than it helped.
I would agree. I think the standout people of the Money in the Bank are CM Punk.
But even CM Punk, when he won it, it wasn't a big deal.
Same with Edge.
Edge was the only one who made a star, I think.
Well, at the same time, though, I think the best Money in the Bank winners are the two-time Money in the Bank winners because when CM Punk won it at WrestleMania 24, didn't really do anything for him.
Right.
Same with Edge when he won it at WrestleMania 21.
Right.
It was the feud after he cashed in his Money in the Bank that made Edge. Again, it's the opportunity is one thing. What you do with the opportunity is the other in wrestling.
Right.
Because when CM Punk won Money in the Bank the second time and he cashed it in on Jeff Hardy, and they began that awesome, very underrated feud where it saw CM Punk kind of blur the lines of heel face where it's like, I'm a bad guy because you love Jeff Hardy. But what I'm saying is Jeff Hardy is an addict.
Yeah.
I live a clean life. Why do you love Jeff Hardy
Yeah.
and boo me when I'm just speaking the truth?
Yeah, CM Punk, he was just trying to, like, he was a heel who made good points.
And it blew my
And
mind.
it was like one of those things where, like, yeah, we're kind of pieces of shit. We kind of do everything. We, like, do drugs. We drink alcohol. We smoke meth. You know, the normal things people do.
Yeah.
And he's
Meth.
better than us. And because he doesn't do any of that stuff. And I actually honestly respect people like that. But I love the fact that he made that into a heel tactic, which is kind of like similar to, like, this is a bad example, but an example of like when Sergeant Slaughter was like the Iraqi sympathizer.
Yeah.
He's all like, you know, you guys just you're racist, you're like killing people for no reasons. And stuff.
I don't-
You're like, you make a good point, but fuck you, dude.
I don't think
A heel is just someone who's like
the wrestling bad guy.
Yeah, it's essentially like, yeah. So like, a heel is someone you like don't like. You don't like your heel. You don't like looking at heels. It's very unappealing.
heel at some point.
He was the
He's
best
the
heel.
Best heel. Honestly, in the modern age, in the last 20 years,
We get to that. We're gonna get
that's
to
the
that.
cool thing about wrestling is that it never ends, and you can't.
Randy Orton was a good guy at some point, right?
Yeah.
He was like a bad
He's a good guy.
I
now.
guess technically, yeah, there were
Technically,
people
he's a good
cheering
guy
for
right
him.
Yeah.
I wasn't one of them.
Nah, I said this before we started, but Randy Orton is a great wrestler. I don't like him.
He's kind of like how you see Bret Hart's how I see Randy
Dude,
Orton.
Bret Hart sucks.
Okay, all right. No, he doesn't.
Bret Hart, he's a good wrestler. He has zero charisma. Zero.
So,
Hey, don't you know that like
All
wrestling
Randy-
is supposed to be like
all
super
Randy
real
Orton
and
has is
stuff?
the RKO. It's all he's got.
Bret Hart is like an older version of CM Punk, kind of the way he like went against Vince, right? Because they both kind of fought against him.
Well, no, truthfully, you want to know my opinion. My opinion is that Bret Hart is spoiled, and he was given everything. He worked really hard, but he was given a lot of opportunities because of his family with Stu Hart. And I feel like that he didn't understand what he was doing. And when they asked him to like drop the title in his hometown, it wasn't because it was in his hometown. It was because he was leaving. And they don't like to do title changes on Raw or whatever at the time.
I think at that
So it
time
makes
too,
sense.
just because Bret Hart said he wouldn't go on WCW television with the title did not mean the WWE had to believe him.
Well, literally like a month before that, they had Lunch of Blaze coming.
Yeah,
out, the
exactly,
Women's
exactly.
title in trash.
That's a podcast for another day.
Yeah, yeah.
So during this 2009 to 2012, you have John Cena basically as the top face of the company, and you have really two like top heels in 2009. You have CM Punk, who's doing this straight edge, judgy lifestyle thing, and it's awesome. It's working.
Yeah.
And then you have Randy Orton, and he's in a stable known as Legacy.
Randy Orton, the slippery snake.
And Legacy was actually really good. I liked Legacy.
Legacy is great.
You had Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase, all of them second, third generation
Yeah.
superstars of Hall of Fame guys.
Yeah, and then they have like who was it?
Manu.
Manu, yeah. I thought that was cool.
I thought it was great, but it did
I liked the
not.
idea. I thought they were gonna build like a because full disclosure, I love factions. Factions are
Factions
the best.
are awesome.
They're the best
If they're
way
done
to tell,
well.
Factions can tell stories better. I feel like it builds stars better, and I feel like it also makes it feel like a sport.
Exactly.
In a sense, like if you watch New Japan, of course, I'm wearing my Jushin Thunder Liger shirt, but if you're watching New Japan,
The phenomenal
I feel like people like to cheer for their favorite factions. It's like a sports team, like cheering for like the Cowboys or the Buccaneers or anything like that.
And I think there's a lot of storyline
like,
possibilities you can do with
Bullet
factions.
Club for life, yo.
Like,
and then chaos, bro.
Right now, Okada's taking on Will Ospreay.
Yeah, and there's so many ways you can go.
Yeah.
So I thought with Legacy they were gonna do like a big faction, kind of put Randy Orton
mean, there were-
to that next level, which he did eventually get to. But like I feel like this feud actually kind of put him there.
There were
But
rumors of putting Curtis Axel, Joe Hennig,
Joe Hennig, man.
in. We'll do a podcast about missed opportunities.
Dude, Joe Hennig is really, really good. I should
But-
have worn my Mr. Perfect shirt.
But I mean, at this time, like Randy Orton is basically top heel of Raw.
Right.
You have CM Punk as top heel on SmackDown,
Yeah.
and then they decide to bring in Sheamus. Sheamus, the Great White.
Bro kick.
Glad they dropped the Great White thing soon.
Sheamus come in though.
Like
He came-
2009. Or it was an ECW. He was on ECW.
He was on ECW for like a minute, and then they moved him to Raw because they folded the ECW brand,
Yeah.
and then they immediately threw Sheamus in a pretty. Again, I thought it was. Sheamus himself wasn't a very great champion
Yeah.
during this time period, but I think the way they brought him in was great. Where
Yeah. He won the world title within like 2 months.
they had Jesse Ventura guest host, and we'll talk about guest host in a second. We had Jesse Ventura do this whole thing where he was going to give a title opportunity to a bunch of people who had never had title opportunities before. It was going to be like a gauntlet match, it was a battle royal.
Okay.
And it saw Sheamus go over,
Yeah, I remember.
and then he attacked John Cena, and then at TLC they had a tables match.
Was that real? Was that a shoot? Did he actually fall through the table by accident, John Cena?
Right? Who knows?
I have no idea. Like,
It was-
I've never heard anybody follow up on this.
So they're on the
like, I don't know if I'm being worked, but I thought for a second that he slipped and fell through
Yeah.
the table, and Sheamus won the title by accident.
they're standing on the turnbuckle, and the point of a table match is whoever goes through the table. Like if you send your opponent through the table, you lose the match, or you win the match. So they're on the turnbuckle, and Sheamus pushed him off, and John Cena went through the table, causing
Yeah,
Sheamus to
match.
win the match, win the title, and it was fine.
Yeah, it was WWE.
He wasn't a bad champion.
Nah,
The only thing-
I wasn't hurt.
The best thing he did was challenge Zack Ryder in a match that literally ended as soon as it began. Zack Ryder gets into the ring. Sheamus just runs up, bro, kicks him in the face, pins him.
Is Zack Ryder the one-legged Olympic?
No, that's Zach
No,
Gowen.
Zach Gowen.
I thought that was the
That was like 2004.
Yeah.
It was like 2004.
barely, 'cause he
He's
was-
still wrestling.
Does he?
Yeah, he teams with Gregory Irons, who is a wrestler with cerebral palsy. And no, he's don't laugh. He's really good, actually.
Just their tag team. It's like
And their team is they were originally called the Handicap Handguns.
They acknowledge
Yeah. They're the Handicap
You'd
Handguns.
have to.
They changed it. They changed it because a lot of kids were looking up to them on the independents because they were the Handicap Heroes. I think they're still a tag team, but they don't really like do a lot.
Because when that one-legged came out, everyone was like freaking out because he had the one-leg dive backflip.
Yeah.
fucked up Vince
He got
McMahon.
thrown down like a flight of stairs by Brock Lesnar in a wheelchair. It was awesome.
Question is, was that a worker shoot?
Was that a worker shirt?
Is Brock Lesnar
his
actually-
shoot fell downstairs.
Did Brock Lesnar actually throw him? Anyway,
Down
God.
City, bitch.
And Sheamus was fine. He carried the title. But really, it's all. So Randy Orton is doing this thing, and I forgot exactly what before he turns face, he finds the time to bury Kofi Kingston.
Dude,
in one of
what a big missed opportunity with Kofi Kingston.
I agree.
Like honestly, like
I mean, he's doing fine
he's
now.
doing fine. He'll probably be in the Hall of Fame someday.
With the New Day.
Probably with the New Day, but even by himself, I think he has enough. He has he's like an 8-time Intercontinental Champion or something.
No,
like that.
no.
It's a lot.
I think he's like a 3 or 4 time.
I don't know, but the problem, the thing is, like Kofi had potential, and it seemed like they were trying to push more of like the leaner guys at the time.
I think they saw main event stuff in Kofi Kingston, and then he messes up one thing.
Yeah,
like one, and it's Randy Orton getting ready for the punt kick.
Yeah,
and then he's going to do it. I think Kofi Kingston stands up. He just stands up.
Yeah.
And then Randy Orton hits him.
He hits him with an RKO, I believe, and he just goes stupid.
Yeah, he just says on camera, you can see this. He just goes stupid idiot.
Yeah.
And then he hits the RKO one more time, pins him, and then Kofi Kingston is buried.
Yeah.
Which is the wrestling term for basically you're going to lose your job, buddy.
No.
He
just wasn't in the right position.
You know, wrestling, it's not real. It's choreographed. It's choreographed. It's real, but it's choreographed.
It's awesome.
And so they're setting up for this one move. Kofi Kingston forgets his mark. He stands up, messes up this thing Randy Orton was going to do. Randy Orton, the professional he is, basically berates him for it as the match is going on. Pins him, 1, 2, 3. Kofi Kingston, who is, looking to be like at least kind of in the main event, no longer sees the main event after that.
Yeah.
Well, this is actually a habit of his. There are multiple reports of Randy Orton costing people not only main event.
He's like the Christian Bale of wrestlers.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, dude.
Except
I had a
except
friend
I
who
like
met him and
watch-
he said he was a complete dick.
I like
whatever.
watching Christian Bale.
Oh, not Christian Bale. I meant Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Whatever.
If Randy Orton is watching this, we have nothing against you.
I booed you, dude. I booed you at the Santa Ana Star Center, and I'm proud of
Randy.
it.
Hey, Randy. I don't like you. Come at me, bro.
I'm gonna do a little disclaimer that says
He's fine. He's fine. I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. The RKO, great finisher. That's all he's got.
Just say that I actually really liked Randy Orton.
Yeah, that's what
RKO and rated RKO.
Yeah, the
Edge and Randy Orton team.
when he was the legend killer, Randy Orton was great. But once Randy Orton started to kind of be, it's more of like the alleged backstage stuff, which
that's where I stopped watching right at the time, like all that stuff.
yeah, you told me.
yeah.
You told me around the
No,
time.
I got out of it for a bit too around that time.
I didn't see Sheamus. Sheamus and me came in and went out at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of this weird
The highlight of Sheamus is when he razor edged Jamie Noble onto the mats, and it was like, whoa.
Yeah. I thought, him
Not
ending Daniel Bryan's career is a highlight. Just kidding. Daniel Bryan, come back, please. I miss you.
You're dead to me, Sheamus.
But no, Randy Orton. I said this before. I'm like, he seems like a jerk and he's a bad person, but he's a good wrestler.
Yeah.
Like I feel like he's just not into it.
So during this time, during the 2009 to 2012, during 2009 2010, he's in this stable with Legacy, Cody Rhodes, Ted DiBiase.
Yeah.
And again, I forgot exactly what caused this, but
I think they just tried to like make a name for themselves or something like that. If I remember correctly, they like decided to team up on him.
He was yelling at them, and they weren't getting along. And I remember this moment. Randy Orton during a match says that he's going to show that Legacy is more unified than ever.
Mm-hmm.
And then during that match, Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase turned on him.
Right.
And then for some reason, they made a triple threat match at WrestleMania 26. I don't know why they didn't make it a handicap match.
Yeah, it would make way more sense. But maybe you can kind of okay. So they didn't do this, but if I were to go through it, I'd say, well, it'd be kind of cool to you have two guys who are working together to beat one guy, but only one of them can win. So it kind of gives a good dynamic if you're going to put on a match like that, where it's like something like Royal Rumble. You have like two guys working together to take out people, and then eventually they'll turn on each other. I thought that was going to be what happened. It didn't really happen that way.
And then literally out of nowhere, Randy Orton is now a face.
Yeah.
And I think it was just math. Okay, if I'm booing Cody Rhodes and I'm booing Ted DiBiase, I have to cheer for one of these guys.
Yeah.
So I'll cheer for Randy Orton.
I straight up was cheering for Cody Rhodes. Like
Same.
I know, like hindsight 2020, he's great now and all that stuff.
Because we're internet marks.
I remember us talking. I remember us talking about how good Cody Rhodes was.
When he cut that dashing Cody Rhodes promo.
Dashing Cody Rhodes and even undashing Cody Rhodes was like the best stuff. I
You
saw him as a world champion.
Literally up until it became apparent that Stardust was just where he was going to be.
Yeah.
I liked the Stardust
Yeah,
character.
even like when they came together with the Brotherhood with him and Goldust.
Yeah.
Like that was great. Like all that stuff was good. Like,
but once it became very obvious that Stardust was all they were going to do with him, that's when Stardust became a lame character.
See, this is how they should have done it. They should have done it like he comes out of Stardust. They do the whole thing. He's like, I found a perfect partner for you, and it's Stardust. And then eventually have Stardust turn on Goldust, and then have like kind of like a split personality with Cody Rhodes, where it's like as Cody Rhodes, he's like, I love my brother, blah blah blah, and then as Stardust, he's like, I hate my brother. I'm the super villain. Oh. You know, something like that.
I think the wrong guy turned heel in that.
You think Goldust should turn
I
heel?
think because Cody Rhodes was on the way to being we're getting sidetracked, but it's fine. It's a podcast. That's what podcasts are for.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes, before he got trying to find the right negative word for it, before he got forced into this tag team, was on his way to becoming a main eventer. He had just stolen the show with Randy Orton when Cody Rhodes lost his job. That was a great match.
Oh yeah, and wasn't that also? I don't know if it was that match, but he had a match with Randy Orton, which is ironic. Kind of bringing it back to what we were just talking about. That Randy Orton like RKO'd him on a freaking monitor.
I think he hit him with the monitor.
And he busted him open, and he was bleeding.
Oh yeah, he was
really bad.
They edited that stuff out,
and you could actually hear Randy Orton say like, "I'm sorry, Cody. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry." It was great because like we were just talking about how him burying Kofi over a mistake, and he just screwed up Cody Rhodes and made him like.
Who's gonna bury Randy Orton? Nobody. That's the problem. So that leads us into WrestleMania 26. We've got a whole bunch of players. John Cena is facing Dave Bautista in a WWE Championship match.
I actually really like that feud. I don't know if it was me.
I liked it because it's Dave Bautista. He's not gonna let John Cena 5 moves to doom him.
Yeah.
Quickly, 5 moves to doom. Shoulder block.
Shoulder block.
Shoulder block. Power bomb.
Pick up, side slam.
5 knuckle shuffle.
5 knuckle shuffle. And
attitude adjustment.
F you.
That's the
STFU.
Why do they call it? Why do you call it the attitude? It is the FU, right?
It was originally called the FU, but when they went
PG.
And he was like kind of like the top guy for kids, so they changed the name to the AA.
You need an attitude adjustment.
Yeah.
And then what's his Brock Lesnar's is the FU something.
It's the F5.
Which is a tornado. Like it's a type of tornado.
He made that move. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So WrestleMania 26, actually a pretty decent WrestleMania. It's not bad. There's actually a lot of really good matches on it.
Yeah,
I think the only match that's not
Yoshitatsu.
Yoshitatsu. Remember Yoshitatsu?
Dude, have you seen him at New Japan in the last like couple years?
No.
Dude, he is so funny, and I don't think he understands how funny he is. Because he comes out because he came back after his neck injury when AJ Styles broke his neck by accident.
When he did not take the
tuck
move
his
right.
he didn't tuck his chin when he was supposed to take a Styles Clash, broke his neck.
Yeah.
He comes back, and he comes out with this cool idea with like Bullet Club Hunter.
Yeah.
It was like green, and it was like he's like, I'm gonna take out all the Bullet Club because they injured me. Boo boo bee boo, you know, and
boo boo bee boo.
You know, like wrestling, and it never went anywhere.
No,
it really
Bullet
didn't.
Club became the
it
best.
It actually became like at one point because they brought in Billy Gunn, and they basically were like spoofing DX. Like they were doing like the X chops, and they were like, yeah, like Bullet Club Hunter, you know, and just like I'm like, whoa, like I don't know what this is because like at the time New Japan didn't have English commentary, so I'm just kind of like watching. I'm like, I have no idea what the hell's going on. It's just Bullet Club Hunter, and there's like this great photo of I think it was at G1 Climax last year.
Yeah.
And they had like a signing for all the wrestlers
and
there.
And Yoshitatsu.
And Yoshitatsu's just sitting there by himself with a buttload of Bullet Club Hunter shirts on his phone, just kind of like.
Nobody wants
a picture.
They want the
Yoshitatsu.
Bullet Club shirt. They don't want the Bullet Club Hunter shirt.
No.
God, what a moment in time. I feel like. So
he had potential when he went to EC or was it NXT or ECW?
ECW.
ECW. He kind of started trying to do like a Great Muta like homage.
Yeah.
And that was kind of cool, but like they kept the same theme music.
Oh no, that was
and
NXT.
Kept
that
his
was
same
NXT.
like attitude. He was still like, uncheery Japanese. You know, it's like, okay, cool, dude.
Yoshitatsu's a good wrestler. It's just at that time, he's one of those before his time in WWE.
Yeah.
Himself, not
I have a
necessarily.
feeling Vince McMahon's just like, oh,
His name's Yoshitatsu.
his name is Yoshitatsu. What is that, like a Japanese dish? I'm gonna get. What kind of music do they listen
Let's
to?
name him Kung Fu Naki. We already have that, Vince. Oh.
Relegate him to ECW.
That's where all the people I don't like go.
Yeah. But yeah, that's how I felt with like Yoshitatsu's. Like I never cared about him because they made me not care about him.
Really, the only bad match in WrestleMania 26 to me is the Money in the Bank match.
The bad match?
It's there's
who was
way
in that?
you got Jack Swagger, Christian, Dolph Ziggler.
yeah.
Way too many people in this match.
Didn't we try to watch this? We were trying to find it. Like we watched like on Static on pay-per-view or some shit like that.
No, that's the Royal Rumble where Dolph Ziggler took on Edge.
Maybe okay. So maybe I watched this then, and I was trying to find.
And
a
then
way
of
to watch
all
it.
the people to win,
And I came in right when the Money in the Bank match was ending, and Jack Swagger won, and I went,
nope.
"What?"
You
I was
have-
like, "You had like Christian, who I thought was a shoe-in."
I'm sorry.
in
Like
that.
during this time, because I remember Drew McIntyre is at like is
Was this peak McIntyre?
this is peak McIntyre because he's not in WrestleMania 27.
I like how you put MVP as his full name.
Oh, this is just
Yeah, yeah.
Wikipedia.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just Wikipedia.
I was
Click
just
on the
like-
link.
I
It'll
was
give.
like, who's Montel Vontavious
MVP,
Porter?
man.
Oh yeah.
They could have
That's
given it to
MVP.
Shelton Benjamin, but instead they give it to Jack Swagger,
Swagger.
who's fine,
Yeah.
but he's even less fine than Sheamus.
Yeah, honestly Jack Swagger is really good. I just felt like I didn't like something about him. He just didn't have like anything about him that like draws you to him.
He is like, if you made a list of top 10 most forgettable wrestlers
Yeah,
ever,
yeah.
I would forget to put him on the list.
Damn. That's a deep cut.
Boom. Triple H took on Sheamus. He beat him. This is
So okay, I do not remember this at all. What was the feud?
Sheamus just didn't like Triple. I think Triple H eliminates Sheamus at Elimination Chamber.
Oh, okay.
I want to recant what I said because I've seen this WrestleMania and I literally do not remember Sheamus existing.
He is the white. He's the pale.
He is
Yeah.
weird fucking Irish.
See, that's the
Well,
thing
he
about
just
Sheamus.
came up that year, I believe.
that
Yeah,
year?
it was that year.
I don't like remember him like.
That's kind of the whole deal with Sheamus. He was
Sheamus is one of those. He was like X-Pac heat. Like he did. Nobody liked him.
pretty forgettable wrestler.
Yeah.
And I like Sheamus, but even I'm like, every time he held that world title, I was like, no.
Yeah.
Okay, Sheamus, sure.
No, I thought him winning the title. I forgot the
His
year.
face run was fine.
It was right before 28 when he won the world title. I was okay with.
No, he won the world title at 28.
Oh.
You're
Well, then the
thinking
time
of when he
before
beat
that.
Big Show.
Okay, then that's what
Yeah.
it was. I liked him then when he
That
was
was
first starting to
after.
turn
That was like
face.
WrestleMania
When he
29.
first started to turn face, I liked him, and then it just went way too.
The only time I
boys
liked,
and girls and
yeah, I liked
hey kids, take your vitamins.
when they're trying to make him
I'm not gonna
Cena
try an
too.
Irish accent, but
Turn today's.
listen here to hurry, here to hurry to hurry.
Bret Hart came back and defeated Mr. McMahon in a mess of a match that made no sense. I'm gonna screw you by bringing in your entire family to screw you.
Dude, can I just say something? Hart Dynasty, most underrated, cool freaking team.
Wasted
Dude, they
tag
were
team.
so sick, dude. Like, and even when like, cause like, they won they unified the tag titles,
Yeah,
and I like the idea
Bret
of
Hart
like
won the United
legends
States
of
title
legends.
from Miz.
Like they were like the children of legends coming in to make a name for themselves. You have Natty Neidhart, you had Tyson Kidd, and you had David Hart
I know, but
Smith.
they came in at the
They-
wrong
They
time.
killed it. And if they added like, this is super controversial, but if they had like Teddy Hart to that mix, it would have been a cool little like big faction. Yes, Teddy Hart's crazy. And
I
all
would
that stuff,
agree,
but
but you got to deal with the fact that Teddy Hart's crazy.
yeah, he's literally insane. But like you have that. You had a good dynamic. You had a tag team. You had a woman wrestler, and you had. I think honestly, Teddy Hart is super charismatic.
Oh yeah, no, he's a
super
great wrestler.
charismatic.
It's just
There's a reason why people like
it's
pay
just
attention.
it's
to
just
him.
his crap attitude.
Yeah, that's 100%. But like if he kept it in line, and then he just they could have done something big with that. Yet again, love factions.
Oh yeah, Chris Jericho fought Edge. I can't believe it's like one of the very few times they've
I
actually.
remember that. Didn't
It
he
was
like spear him? Like he ran across like the announce
after the
table,
match. I don't
speared him
understand.
through the barricade.
Yeah, Chris Jericho made him tap out to the walls of Jericho, and then Edge speared him through. Yeah, he speared him.
That was the time where I was not into Edge because he was doing that dumb I'm a face spear.
Yeah, it was not a very well thought out feud. It was just you were talking crap about me after I got injured and her tag team broke up. Yeah. I won the Royal Rumble, and well, John's facing Batista, so I guess we're gonna feud.
Yeah. Well, because like
that's my dream. I just want a realistic.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't that when like Chris Jericho was like randomly added to the Fatal 4-Way match because someone got injured?
No, that was that's when CM Punk was taken out of the match.
Yeah,
no,
okay, so that was a couple years.
Jericho won the title from Undertaker at Elimination Chamber.
Okay.
Because Undertaker won the title from CM Punk.
Yeah. And
Shawn Michaels is trying to get that rematch. He comes out during the match, super kicks Undertaker. Chris Jericho pins him 1, 2, 3. Jericho wins the title. He goes to WrestleMania.
So
Plus,
Jericho and Edge used to be like friends, right? Like
they did a tag team for like a second because Edge was a heel, Jericho was a heel. Teddy Long put them together, called them the two-man ego trip.
Is that what it was? Because I remember. It was them, like, weren't they feuding with, like, DX?
No.
Or was it John Cena and someone?
They had just won the titles. I forgot who they won the titles from. But then Jericho replaced him with Big Show. They became Jericho.
Jericho, which he hates that name. I remember him talking about it on his podcast. He's like, Jericho is the dumbest name
And then
ever.
Chris Jericho turned... I forgot how they broke up.
I don't
think
remember.
The draft. No, I remember how they broke up. Jericho was on SmackDown. Big Show was on, or I have them, Jericho
because
was on SmackDown.
unified titles at the time,
yeah,
so they floated.
Big Show was on Raw, and then DX took the titles from them.
Okay, so I was right. DX was.
And then Big Show teamed up with The Miz and took the titles from Shawn Michaels from DX.
Show Miz I liked.
Show Miz was...
I loved how he had both titles. He had the
United States title
and the tag title. And I remember him distinctly saying, I'm only 19 more victories away from tying Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania. Or something like that.
Which is no longer true because...
No, it's not true at all. But it was so great. I was laughing.
There was a period of time where it was like, he was like winning his WrestleMania matches.
Yeah. He won like 2 in a row. And he was like, I'm like 19 away. No, something like that.
He won
like very little, but he was like already claiming that he's going to have a streak.
I think the first time he lost was WrestleMania 30.
Yeah, because who did he face on 30?
He was part of the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Okay.
That doesn't count as a defeat.
Let's see, Wrestlemania 30. John Cena, his match against John Cena.
Yeah.
I think
he won.
No, they lost.
This recent one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you were talking about their...
No, we'll get to WrestleMania 27. There's so much to talk about with that one. Anyway, so in this WrestleMania match, you saw a lot of shit. Chris Jericho defeated Edge. John Cena defeated Batista, both by submission.
I love that feud.
It was a good feud.
The reason why I liked that feud was the packaging for it and leading up to it was fantastic. They were like, while you were over here, our careers have paralleled. While you were over on Raw making a name for yourself, I've been over here on SmackDown making a name for myself. And then they like every time they got drafted separate, they never crossed paths. It was really, really cool. Like, they were the two megastars of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, they were brought up at the same time. They were both in, like, OVW, in that, like, what was it, 2000, was it 2003?
He was, Batista was the Leviathan.
The prototype.
John Cena was the prototype.
Shelton Benjamin, Brock Lesnar.
There were a lot of good parallels.
I loved it.
It was also Batista's last WrestleMania for a while.
Yeah, and he had the best... farewell. Honestly.
He just quit. He just threw a hissy fit and quit.
What are you guys? You just want me to quit, don't you?
Fine.
Fine, I quit.
This WrestleMania is interesting because it's Shawn Michaels' last match. He lost to The Undertaker. Spoiler alert. Undertaker, I think after this, Undertaker does like a few things, and then he's out for injuries. He doesn't come back until...
This is right around the time where he started like doing one match.
Being more of a part-timer.
Yeah.
Triple H's career started slowing down after this. Sheamus took him out after this.
Okay.
And then he didn't come back until WrestleMania to build up WrestleMania 27. Batista leaves, and then Chris Jericho leaves the company later that year.
Yeah, that's right. He did.
So you have these like main event.
How long was he gone? Like a year or two?
He didn't come back until WrestleMania 28.
Okay, so about a year.
About a year. So
okay. I remember he came back at a Royal Rumble, and he was like number 2 against CM Punk or something like that.
No, not CM Punk, but I know which one. I think that was WrestleMania, like the surprise return.
Yeah, I remember he was a number 2 because they're like, and his contestant number 2.
Is that WrestleMania? That might have been WrestleMania 31
Yeah, I think it was around the time that CM Punk was doing the Nexus thing.
or WrestleMania. Yeah.
Yeah, the Nexus stuff.
And then so we'll go. So after WrestleMania 26, basically you're stuck with Randy Orton and John Cena are the faces of the company.
Yeah.
They move Randy Orton to SmackDown
Okay.
because John Cena needs to bury everybody on Raw.
Yeah.
But who's going to bury all the SmackDown talent? And so you and trust me, it sucked. It sucked being a wrestling fan during this
Dude,
time.
we were trying. Like I remember we were like, well, maybe, possibly, perhaps, you know, we could do this. And it'll be very
wrestling. I mean,
interesting.
it's not for whatever. You know, just enjoy the product.
I remember we talked so much crap about the product, but we watched it every week. And this is around the time that I started watching Ring of Honor.
And you got into TNA. I remember.
TNA was actually really good at this time.
It was fine.
right
It
before-
had good
It was
stuff.
right before Hogan came in. Right before Hogan came in, TNA was at its peak. 2009, 2008. It was like the best.
So on Raw, you have John Cena and his 5 moves of doom. And on the other side, you have Randy Orton. And I'm sorry, every feud with Randy Orton is the same. He always gets over on it.
Yeah.
Every segment, Randy Orton gets over.
I'm trying to think of when that didn't happen, but
Mark Henry. Literally the only
Dude,
time.
can we just talk about how great Mark Henry
We
is?
will. I have some stuff for Mark Henry.
He's awesome.
So Orton wins the title at no, he doesn't win the title, but he's burying everybody as a face. And then we haven't talked about CM Punk yet. We will. So we can't talk about 2009 to 2012 without talking about the Nexus. Literally the most exciting thing WWE has created at this time.
It got me
And
back
then
watching Raw.
It was amazing. It was amazing because the Nexus comes from NXT, which was at the time WWE's reality show for developmental talent. It was dumb.
Did you actually watch it when it was on?
I watched all of it.
I thought it was dumb, but I watched it because Daniel Bryan was on it.
And that's why I watched it, because when I saw Daniel Bryan, I knew I was watching a future star.
Yeah. Well, because I knew him as Bryan Danielson.
Yeah.
Like I said, the year before I started watching Ring of Honor on HDNet, it came on, like, I think I just, like, TiVo, I just Googled wrestling, and that came up. And I was like, oh, sick.
I think it's when he had Chris Jericho in that sick-looking Dragon Sleeper that I knew really right away, oh, my God, I love Daniel Bryan.
I already knew that I liked him, but I didn't think he was going to do anything in WWE. After his first match on NXT, where he did that suicide dive and Chris Benoit did and freaking hit his back to the thing, and then he sold it, and he had taped up.
We will use Chris Benoit's name as a verb anytime a wrestler actually hurts themselves.
All right. Chris Benoit is my favorite wrestler of all time. I am not allowed to like him. That's why I'm so bitter. I love him so much, and I'm not allowed to because he is a freaking murderer. Child murderer. A child murderer. So we were talking about this before.
We gotta get away from Chris Benoit.
All right. Fair enough.
So NXT, the way it worked was talent, like these developmental talents would go through these very dumb challenges. They wouldn't wrestle. They would go through challenges, and it was dumb.
It was dumb because it was shoot. That was the funny
Yeah.
thing about it. Is like if they were like challenges like beat the clock challenge,
Not only was
gauntlet match, stuff like that, I'd be like, hell yeah, that sounds cool.
not only was it a shoot, it wasn't planned.
Yeah,
Like,
you
they had
remember,
no idea what they were
I-
doing.
I don't know. I think it was season 2, but Titus O'Neil just like was carrying the keg.
Yeah.
and he just runs. He just slips and falls, and he just eats crap. And
Or
it's like,
they had
oh.
that video of Naomi going through the like this endurance challenge, and the refs kept having to tell her to go back and do
yeah.
something. Wrestling should not ever be a shoot.
Yeah. That's-
Shoot is bad.
I don't watch wrestling because it's real. I watch wrestling because it's fun.
Anyway, so eventually all of these talents get eliminated, and it leaves Wade Barrett, who I'm going to say it, wasted. He was wasted.
You can say he was in the wasteland.
Ooh, but then he changed his finisher.
Oh, I'm leaving everybody. Bye.
This is not a... So he wins, and he's guaranteed a main event match at a pay-per-view. They don't specify. I forgot exactly what episode it was, but it had Ashton Kutcher. I think it was a Raw Roulette. Yeah, it was Raw Roulette. So
Yes.
there's a match between John Cena and CM Punk. It's when he was wearing the straight edge mask.
Which is great.
And
I
Wade
love
Barrett
that.
comes out. He says he says earlier in the night he's gonna make an impact. He comes out during this match, and then it cuts to people in the audience, and all of a sudden you see all of these NXT talents wearing the same shirt, the same armband. They're all like Michael Tarver has his stupid face mask thing on, and I remember as a fan going, "What's this?"
Yeah.
They all hop the barricade. I'm like, "What's this?"
Yeah.
And then they start beating the crap out of John Cena. CM Punk
Yeah.
gets the F out of there.
Yeah. And,
And
they,
then-
they destroyed the entire building. Like,
And-
that was what was so cool about it. It wasn't the fact that they were just attacking John Cena, because we see that all
They
the time.
ripped, they tore apart the
destroyed
ring.
the building.
They beat up commentators.
It was in silence. Like, everything was in silence. All you heard was them beating up people and the crowd, because they took out the commentators.
They threw the same chair like 6 times.
Yeah, and they all did their finishers to John Cena. That was really cool.
Daniel Bryan was immediately fired after for some less than PG actions during that.
Speaking of Chris Benoit, he got fired because they I guess banned like choking like with wires
Well,
and ties and
the-
stuff
the way
because of the Chris Benoit situation.
The way the story goes was some sponsor of WWE.
Probably Mattel.
Yeah.
Probably Mattel.
Basically saw the image of Daniel Bryan choking Justin Roberts with the tie and going,
So great.
that's not PG.
No.
He spit on John Cena too.
That's what people thought, but I don't think John Cena would ever.
Yeah, I don't.
Like,
I think
he's
it was,
professional. As
it's-
much as we talk crap about him, he's very professional.
and he probably would have
understands.
liked it. It's definitely
Yeah.
Tiegate. That's what got Daniel Bryan
Yeah, it
fired.
was definitely the tie. Because the fact is, they zoomed in on it. Like, if they just kind of like zoomed out of that situation and didn't like really show it, I think it would have been fine.
And they ran with Nexus. They ran with them for a while. Like they just kept on beating people up and
Yeah.
winning, and it was exciting. You were seeing this new heel faction being taken seriously.
Yet again, factions are cool.
And when you get behind talent,
Right.
people buy into it.
Yeah.
And then what happened? Well, I'll tell you. At SummerSlam 2010, John Cena almost single-handedly buried the shit out of him. Just
Yeah.
buried him. Buried him 6 feet under and said, F you, I'm John Cena.
Yeah. Real quick, who got injured in that led up to that they brought back Daniel Bryan? Was it Khali?
Yeah, it was Great Khali.
It was Great Khali. So yeah.
Thank God.
So probably the best thing that could have happened. No offense.
The Great
they
Khali
took
is
out the
ironically
they took out
mediocre.
the worst wrestler in the match, and they replaced him with arguably the best wrestler on the planet.
And not only that, Daniel Bryan came back. They said, like, again, when it was first announced that Daniel Bryan got fired, the way they were talking about him was kind of like, we're going to bring him back.
Yeah, we just gotta let it settle. Same thing they did with Fit Finlay when he got in trouble in Brazil, I believe it was.
For that Chris Jericho thing. Yeah.
So they just like let it settle down,
It's-
make sure people forget, and then
It's
bring him
crazy looking at this picture because only one of these guys is an active wrestler on WWE's roster now.
back. Heath Slater.
Heath Slater.
Yeah.
Really the winner of Nexus.
Yeah. I mean,
He
you're
has
not wrong.
kids.
You're not wrong. He's still, but it's because I think he kept his mouth shut and did his job.
Yeah.
And he didn't complain.
And he
because,
didn't do suicide dives every night like
Yeah,
Daniel
yeah.
Bryan.
No, because like if you look at the people who are on this list, like Michael Tarver, he's whatever. He seems like he had a bad attitude. Like everything I've heard of him.
Well, he talked. I'm sorry.
yeah.
Like even during this time when I didn't like John Cena, like the
well,
stuff.
technically, David Otunga's still with the company.
Yeah.
so I guess there's two winners.
He's like a guest
Yeah,
star.
yeah. So David Otunga kind of moved to more of a backstage, not backstage.
Justin
but more-
Gabriel released.
He's in Lucha
Ryback
Underground.
asked for his release. Darren.
Ryback.
Skip Sheffield at the time.
Dude, Ryback sucks.
I think as a heel he was fine, but I would agree that
I
he's
didn't like him.
very overrated.
I remember you telling me around this time that you thought that a future WrestleMania main event was going to be Wade Barrett versus Ryback.
I know, but the storyline was there.
Yeah.
Then we have the Miz.
Yeah.
And this is the
Miz.
Miz's first and still kind of only real push for the main event. Although now,
See, this is what I meant by earlier when I was saying, like, what do you think about Money in the Bank? I think it ruined The Miz. Truthfully, I think if he organically rose to the main event, kind of like what they're doing now,
yeah,
he would have been a huge star. But the fact that the Money in the Bank exists just to push talent that's not ready to be pushed. So you look at like Jack Swagger, Miz, Who else? Who are other winners that I'm forgetting?
Rob Van Dam.
Rob Van Dam. Okay, that one.
Mr. Kennedy.
Mr. Kennedy
doesn't
never
count.
cashed in.
Alberto Del Rio.
Yeah, even Alberto. Well, Alberto Del Rio, man, like
He should not like.
he literally grand slammed everything you can do. He's done more in WWE than CM Punk.
His career is largely forgettable in the WWE.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
He won the Royal Rumble. He won the Money in the Bank.
He's like
He
Jeff
won the
Jarrett.
World title, the WWE title. He's won the United States title. He's done more than like CM Punk did, but like nobody cares.
Yeah. No, I would agree. I think the Miz now is a lot better, but during this time, like they just handed him stuff, and his whole claim to fame is like I'm at everything. So is all the other wrestlers.
I always liked the Miz. I always thought he was trying really really hard. And He
Yeah.
was working his ass off, and him getting that world title, I felt like it wasn't the right time.
Yeah.
But he did deserve it.
I think that, and everybody's complaint about him, like stealing the title. I'm like, what did Edge do when he won his first title?
What did everybody do? I think the
Yeah.
only two people who never did that were Rob Van Dam and John Cena.
Yeah, John Cena.
So out of like 10 people who cashed in,
Although Carmella remains to be seen.
dude, she's cashing in the night after SmackDown.
I
the
think-
night after WrestleMania.
I think
on
she should do it
SmackDown.
at WrestleMania.
Nope, she's
Anyway,
cashing in on SmackDown. The night after, or the 2 nights after WrestleMania, Charlotte's gonna win against Becky Lynch,
yeah.
and she's gonna come in and be like FABULOUA.
If
Boom.
If I was
Burm,
booking Carmella, I would, and I love Asuka, but if I was booking Money in the Bank, women's Money in the Bank, that's how I'd give Asuka her first loss. It's literally like stolen.
with the Money in the Bank briefcase or the match.
The match.
Doesn't count. I still don't think it counts. I think multi-person, like specialty matches like Royal Rumbles or ladder matches or anything like that doesn't count toward the streak.
Yeah. I mean,
Honestly.
so after WrestleMania 26, on the lead up to WrestleMania 27, you can literally see the WWE making Miz their guy.
Yeah.
While CM Punk is literally taking every crap opportunity given to him and making it gold. They're like, all right, Miz, you're going to be United States champion. All right, Miz, you're going to be tag team champions, and you're going to feud with Shawn Michaels and Triple H and DX, and you guys are going to go over them. And it's fine, but it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous because as fine as The Miz is, he's literally just fine.
Yeah, and at this time, this is where CM Punk was starting to break out.
Yeah,
And
CM
he
Punk
was
is...
starting to become like, I'll tell you, I was telling you this before we started, but CM Punk, leading up to WrestleMania, was it 28 or 27 that he fought Rey Mysterio?
26.
26. So leading up to 26, no, I didn't really know a lot about CM Punk. Like I knew he was in Ring of Honor because I watched Ring of Honor, but I didn't know a lot about him, and I never really cared. His promo leading up to that match with Rey Mysterio literally changed everything for me.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously, because the Straight Edge Society, I was like, that's a cool idea. I love factions. Let's do this. And then he comes out. Rey Mysterio's daughter is having a birthday party.
I remember it.
Or a birthday celebration in SmackDown. And you just see CM Punk come out. He has the long hair. He looks like Jesus. And he's like the Antichrist of Straight Edge. It was pretty sweet. He has his followers Luke and Joey, or
And,
Joseph, and Serena.
Serena, yeah.
And,
Serena Deeb.
Serena Deeb, and they come out to Rey Mysterio's families celebrating in the ring, and he's just like, "Oh, is it? Oh, sorry. Oh, is it your birthday? How old are you?" And it was so sadistic. He didn't say anything evil, not once in that whole thing.
But he was just acting
The
evil.
way he said everything made you listen. It was very Jake Roberts.
And he referenced, I love it when he talks to Rey Mysterio's son.
yeah.
You got a lot older since the last time we saw you.
Dude, you know that feud with Eddie and Rey Mysterio about about his son?
Dominic
You know why I never bought into that whole
Because
story?
Dominic
He looks identical to Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch WCW when they unmasked Rey Mysterio, 99, he looks identical to his son. It's scary.
So during this time, I think one of the biggest things is you have the independent wrestling scene
He's the internet's guy. He's the fans guy.
growing, not where it's at now. I think the independent wrestling scene has exploded.
Honestly, the IWC doesn't exist anymore. It's just people now.
Yeah.
Because everybody has the internet.
And then you have those guys that the company wants to push, like the Jack Swaggers, the Sheamuses, and the Mizes.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have all these guys that the internet loves and the WWE's not doing anything with, like CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. Shit, they gave, in order to be put into the main event, They had to make R-Truth a crazy, paranoid stereotype of a guy.
I swore that I thought they were going to try to push him as the world champion for R-Truth because he was killing it with this whole crazy, like...
Yeah, but was he actually killing it? Like, I was laughing, but...
I loved it. Honestly, I was intrigued. I watched because of him because he always did something very interesting. And it was very dumb. Yes.
When he's coming out in the Civil War
but if you looked at the times, it kind of fit with what was going on because everything was very PG, as we've said. But his kind of like idea was kind of like it reminded me of like Judge Dune from like Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah,
where he's like a psychopath because he's crazy.
Yeah,
you can't predict how he's gonna wrestle because he's so crazy. And I thought that's what they were gonna go with it. And they realized the little Jimmy thing was getting over, and
they screwed that up.
Oh, little Jimmy's getting over. Let's sell T-shirts, and he has to be a face. Like, no.
So with all of these bad booking decisions, the burial of the Nexus, the fact that John Cena is the top face, the fact that The Miz is being seen as the top heel, we go into what it's not the worst WrestleMania ever, but personally my least favorite, and it's the one we watched.
Yeah, this is the one. Okay, so this is when I decided to spend $60 because they didn't have the network at the time. $60 to buy WrestleMania because I've never bought a WrestleMania. I always had to like pirate it or go to a friend's house or something like that just to like watch WrestleMania.
Yeah, and this is the first WrestleMania I've ever seen.
We decided to do it, and I thought it was $50, and then at the time HD was coming in, so they were like $10 for HD. I was like, well,
if I'm buying WrestleMania,
yeah, if I'm already paying this much, and God, was it the worst decision?
Well, I mean, it's hard because during this time, this is Edge's last WrestleMania. He retires the night after. Mm-hmm. This is also the return of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
That was cool.
He's been gone for 8 years. He comes back to host.
Yeah.
Which is exciting because it's The Rock. Mm-hmm. At the same time, though, and I talked to Josh about this.
Yeah.
My only problem with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson coming back is it's very clearly he is no longer The Rock. He's Dwayne Johnson playing The Rock.
Yeah.
And while wrestling is fake, at the same time, though, those personalities are exciting. So when I just feel like it's just Dwayne Johnson doing this Rock bit, kind of takes away from everything.
Yeah, for me, it felt like he was he lost the passion.
Yeah,
like,
it's not there.
When you watch his old stuff, he had like a different tone to his voice, and he was very,
I think
for a better word, electric.
I think you can tell when the passion's truly there.
It's not like he wasn't impassionate. It was more of like he just didn't like care as much. He wasn't trying to prove a point like he was when.
But when he does that la 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 thing, I'm just like, you didn't have to do that.
Yeah, no, it was whatever.
Oh man, and so this,
I was stoked when he came back when that Raw where they announced.
But it didn't get better. It didn't get better after. Actually, I take that back because he did that video promo on John Cena.
Oh yeah.
With the kid comes out. It's like, oh, it's John Cena. The kid's like, you can't see me. And he just goes off on this kid, and it's great. Yeah. And then he cuts a promo on The Miz a little bit. Actually, The Miz did something really cool. You remember when?
Hey, are you coming back? Are you? Miz is the best. I've told you this a million times. Miz was great at this time. It was the bad timing.
He was fine. He was put in a bad position.
He just comes out. He's dressed exactly like
that.
He looked exactly.
It didn't get that was the best part. Like that was the only contribution to this whole match. The Miz.
He just comes out. He has the sunglasses. And he's just like.
It was a huge mistake because they're trying to do this John Cena Rock feud.
Right.
But he's got to get this Miz match out of the way first. I remember I predicted the end of that that match. I was like, and it was like almost to a fucking T.
Yeah, I remember that.
But so the pay-per-view started with Edge defeating Alberto Del Rio.
Right, which was I don't remember the match being great.
It's only 11 minutes long. It's a World Heavyweight Championship match.
Also, like look at the rest of the card though. Everything was less than like 15 minutes. I think the longest match was the main event. It was 15.
No, it was Shawn Michaels
Undertaker Triple H.
Which we'll get to because it's a great match. I think a very underrated match is Cody Rhodes defeating Rey Mysterio. This is at the start of his undashing Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, this is where you had that face mask.
And it was great. The theme changed. It was dark. He was playing this kind of dark character. It's like I think the most exciting Rey Mysterio's been since he fought CM Punk.
Right.
And then we go into Big Show, Kofi, Kingston, Kane, Santino Marella burying the shit out of the Core, who are the remnants of the buried the shit out of Nexus.
Yeah, it was like I said, it was a good idea to have them all from different continents. I like that.
Yeah.
But like
Bad execution.
It was bad. If the match at WrestleMania should have been the core versus the new Nexus.
Yeah.
Truthfully.
What a big shock here. Randy
was
Orton.
the new Nexus around at this time?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would have made way more sense.
But we get into that next. Randy Orton defeats New Nexus by defeating their leader CM Punk, and that entire feud, Randy Orton beat all of them.
Can I just talk about how I love the leading up to CM Punk becoming the leader of the new Nexus? I love the idea of like where he was telling people like sacrifice themselves and stuff like that. Like he would make people like whip themselves.
Yeah, once again,
very Da Vinci Code.
Once again, CM Punk turning all of the opportunities he's given into really good stuff, and WWE going.
Best part, this is the part that sticks out to me about this whole thing was after that night of making them all do like their own like sacrifices or whatever. He goes up to the rafters, up high.
I remember that.
And he just has a microphone, and he's just like, and now it's my turn, ladies and gentlemen. I will make my sacrifice. And he's just like, I'm going to jump off this. And he just goes, no, I'm not going to do that. You guys really think I would do that? You guys are stupid. And like stuff like that. And he just started like clowning the audience. It was great.
That was probably the highlight of CM Punk as the leader of the new Nexus.
No, him in the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
He had a microphone and he's just talking crap to everybody.
Same with the Royal Rumble.
Yeah. Royal Rumble too. Royal Rumble, he just sat. They actually did legitimate, like, what we've been saying you should do in Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Where you have, like, you get 5 people on the same side and you just keep throwing them out. And that was awesome.
After the Randy Orton match was the longest 13 minutes and 45 seconds of my life. Michael Cole, a commentator. They turned heel for no reason, really. No reason. They just turned him heel because fuck it.
It seemed like they were trying to bury the women.
And
like, honestly,
Daniel Bryan.
It was really weird. Well, Daniel, okay, I can justify the Daniel Bryan thing where you put him down so you can build him up.
Yeah, no,
I understand that.
He didn't need it.
But they kept doing like the whole thing where like he would interrupt the women's matches that are only like 2 minutes long.
It was bad.
And he interrupted. He's like, nobody wants to see this crap. And like just start talking.
And you know that Vince McMahon's in his ear having him. It's like, why is this how you're booking
I'm saying,
this?
like, I know you're treating the women like crap already. You don't need to remind me.
So he takes on Jerry the King Lawler, WWE Hall of Famer, an actual wrestler turned commentator, in a feud that was probably it was icky. It was an icky feud the entire time.
I like the idea of it's Jerry Lawler getting his one WrestleMania match. He's never had a WrestleMania match.
I think though they should have switched. It should have been Jack Swagger
versus Jerry Lawler.
That
makes way more sense.
With Michael Cole as a manager.
Well, didn't they do like the pay-per-view before where it was Jerry Lawler versus The Miz in a cage?
Yeah.
That was cool. I like that.
I don't think it was a cage, but they did have a match.
I remember a cage match.
They had a TLC match.
Maybe that's what it was. No, Ric Flair had the TLC.
No, they had a TLC match because Michael Cole pushed Jerry Lawler off the ladder.
Okay.
Anyway, it's a bad match. It is bad. It is way too long. And then at the very end, they decide Michael Cole wins.
Yeah. See, it would have made way more sense if they had him get his comeuppance.
Yeah.
Which he kind of did. Like Stone Cold like stunned him, right?
But someone decided, no, let's carry this on for 2 more pay-per-views. Rather than literally ending it, they went, this is a feud.
Yeah, and then it all led up to the best face turn in WWE history.
It's the most important.
It's the best face turn of all time. Is when Jerry Lawler had a heart attack on Raw, and Michael Cole just straight up turns face because he kind of had to.
His legit friend is having a legit heart attack.
Yeah.
It's time to be a legit good guy, and then it was just like
best face turn because nobody would boo Michael Cole after that.
And then right after this garbage match, we have.
Did he have a real heart attack?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Legit heart attack. No, it wasn't staged at all. So what happened was who was
Dolph
wrestling?
Ziggler.
Dolph Ziggler was wrestling.
And he was hitting Jerry Lawler with these elbows.
No. He had a heart attack on commentary.
Well, it was after that match.
Oh, okay.
It was the same night.
No, yeah, he was on commentary. There was a tag match happening, and all of a sudden you were just like, "Where's the commentary?" There's like no commentary. It literally was like, and then you hit him with a log drop, and then they said that.
Silence.
And you're like, you just hear the crowd and the people wrestling. You keep seeing the wrestlers like look towards the announce table, and then they keep working because you don't stop the show.
Yeah.
You can kind of see like the medical people come up to Jerry Lawler.
And then after the match,
they took him to the hospital. And after the match, Michael Cole just comes out like says, "Hey everybody, Jerry, my best friend Jerry Lawler just had
my best friend Jerry Lawler.
Jerry Lawler,
My homie.
just to let you guys know, my best friend No, it was very serious. Like he was dead serious.
Yeah.
It was just like
It's kind of like it's the Owen
Jerry
Hart.
Lawler had a heart attack during the last match. He's been taken to the local hospital to be checked out. And out of respect for my friend, I'm not going to be commentating for the rest of the show.
Were they commentating together?
Yeah, they always commentate together. Michael
They were
Cole.
fighting, but they were still
Yeah,
commentating
yeah, yeah.
together? What?
Wrestling was bad.
Michael Cole was a bad guy. Jerry Lawler was a good guy, but they were commentators. Yeah. He even put like a little like barricade.
Oh, the coal
between
mine.
them, and he called it the coal mine.
It was so bad. And he went.
was-
The worst
Yeah,
part
yeah.
is Michael Cole never shut up.
Yeah. He was very like, oh, well, you're stupid, like, mother, you gotta go, you shut up, Jerry Lawler, you're just jerking. Ah, this is stupid. He was just not
The thing that made Jerry Lawler an effective heel
Yeah.
commentator was he never took away from what was going on.
Yeah.
When Michael Cole was a heel, everything was about Michael Cole.
But
And-
I don't think that was Michael Cole's fault.
No, it was Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
After that match, we get the Undertaker Triple H match, which was awesome.
Yeah, I was saying, like, this match is good.
It's really
It's
good.
a good match.
It's just not.
It just, the whole card was garbage.
Here is the
So
moment.
it made it seem better than it was.
I don't know. Triple H wailing the shit out of the Undertaker's head with unprotected chair shots was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
Or the spine buster on the announce table was really cool. I
Through the
remember
coal mine.
that. Yeah, through the coal mine. That's right. Great. It was so sick.
The best moment, and this was the moment I remember you and I thinking
yeah.
for a minute Triple H had this, was when he hit Undertaker with the Tombstone
Stone
Pile Driver,
he crossed his
and I
arms.
looked at you,
And we're like-
and it was just like 1, 2, and then he kicked out. I was like,
And he
oh
kicked
my
out.
God.
He didn't kick out like oh, I kicked
Yeah.
out. He was just like, ugh.
Yeah.
It was like so like.
And then here's my question about this match. Because it ended with Undertaker putting him in the Hell's Gate,
Right.
the triangle choke.
Because he was like borderline unconscious.
Yeah.
And they caught him.
Was that a work or a shoot?
Him being borderline unconscious.
No, him like having to be dragged, him having to be like driven off. Because they used
I
that.
think it was a work. I think it was a work. I think he was legitimately hurt, but I don't think it was as bad as
Yeah.
they made it seem. Because I think if you jump ahead to next year, it kind of became a part of the story.
Yeah.
So like I feel like it was a work.
But I mean, they've done
but-
stuff like that before.
Well, yeah, because like honestly, like you know how they said like Undertaker collapsed after
Yeah.
his Brock Lesnar match. I don't think that he really did.
No,
I
he
think-
did. He was like legit unconscious.
Oh, really?
You can see during that match
Uh-huh.
when he's concussed.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
I'd love to talk about WrestleMania 30 at some point. That's my favorite
That's-
WrestleMania.
Yeah, same.
And then after this awesome, epic Undertaker Triple H match, we have John Morrison, and this is probably what cost him his job, by the way. Trish Stratus coming back for WrestleMania because we got to promote Tough Enough.
Oh, he's got a rock and roll. This time I'm in control.
Taking on Dolph Ziggler and Lay Cool, made up of Layla and Michelle McCool, with a special guest tag member, and her name was fucking Nicole Snooki Polizzi. That's right. Snooki from Jersey Shore had a WrestleMania moment.
What's a snooki?
It's kind of this fat, orange, tan thing that's from Jersey.
No, it was super dumb, but we all knew it was gonna be dumb.
Thank God it
so
was
I
only
didn't-
3
it didn't
minutes long.
offend me.
The best part, and this is like legitimately to me,
Yeah.
like if Snooki got into the Hall of Fame, I wouldn't complain because she gets Trish Stratus tags her in, the crowd just boos like
Yeah.
immediately because nobody wants to see Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
She does this back handspring elbow onto I think
Yeah.
Layla.
She almost did like almost like a Sasuke special without going over the
She
rope.
did it to Jerry elbow,
Yeah,
and the
yeah, yeah.
crowd flipped out because no one would have thought Snooki would do
Yeah.
something cool.
No, because well, she was a gymnast, wasn't she? Like I don't know anything about Jersey Shore, but
I
I
don't
remember
either.
reading that she was like a gymnast in like high school. and
Sure.
stuff like that. So like it makes sense that she would be like because I knew this match was gonna be garbage.
It was
you knew
gonna
it
be
was,
stupid.
but you know it is what it is.
The
You try to
real
get the match-
highlights, what happened after the match.
What happened after the match? I don't remember.
John Morrison snubbed Trish Stratus.
Oh yeah. Oh, because wasn't it? It was supposed to be Melina instead of Trish
No,
Stratus.
Melina thought it should be her.
Oh, okay.
You
And they were
can't.
dating.
I'm
so-
sorry. If there's ever a story that's like it was supposed to be Melina, I'm like, who said that? Melina?
Yeah, exactly.
My favorite Melina story is her alleged voicemail she sent to Natalia
Yeah, tell me
during.
that story because I don't know that one.
It was Kelly in a title match, and it was like right after the CM Punk shoot promo. So Melina
Wait, the second pipe bomb?
the first pipe bomb.
Oh, the first one. Okay.
So Melina had it in her mind that WWE was super into shoot stuff. So allegedly, Melina leaves a voicemail to Natalya saying, "Hey, I'm gonna shoot, come out, and pin Kelly and win the title. Just go with it." And allegedly, Natalya played this voicemail for Vince McMahon and the powers that be.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Okay, if this person shows up, don't let her in."
Yeah. No, Melina's crazy. Like, I don't know her personally, so, like, sorry, but
Some would say overrated.
from what I've heard, she's just, like, super crazy. And, like, she was supposed to be in, like, Lucha Underground, like, because you don't watch Lucha Underground very much. But
No.
The season finale of season 2, they had John Morrison versus, I think it was, I forgot who he was fighting, but he was fighting someone. Might have been Phoenix, but I could be wrong. And Melina came out and helped him, and that was her debut. And they were like, it was like the end of the
Yeah, and then she was never seen again.
Next season, where's Melina? I don't know, but here's Taya Valkyrie.
She's my girlfriend.
She's my girlfriend now. In the span of like 6 months, I got a new girlfriend, and she's also a wrestler. So it was just and from what I heard is that she had just a bad attitude about everything.
Well, that's the story.
Which is a pretty consistent story from what I've heard.
You hear a story enough times and it stops being a story.
Yeah, it's a bad way to think, but that's kind of how it is.
And then after that, we have the main event, which puts The Miz with his valet, Alex Riley, who I think on paper we all thought he could be a big deal, but like
Alex Riley?
he was such a generic wrestler.
I liked Alex Riley.
He was fine.
I really did.
He was fine, but taking on John Cena in a match that somehow found its way to 15 minutes. And I'll tell you how.
Because he spent like 9 of it on the outside in pain going, oh,
Yeah.
the barricade hurt.
John Cena clotheslines the shit out of The Miz.
Yeah.
He hit him hard.
Hard.
They get counted out. The Rock comes out going, "No, this is the People's WrestleMania.
I can't do a Rock right now.
This is-
I was going to try, but I can't.
This is the People's WrestleMania." And
Let
so
me
he,
tell you something. The Rock is here to tell you that this match is not going to end. It's going to be restarted,
as a
and
no
I'm
dis-
going to rock
as a
bottom
no-
John Cena now.
as a no disqualification match with him as the special guest referee.
Yeah,
They
it's-
get in the ring. John Cena's getting ready. No, John Cena has him for an attitude adjustment. The Miz is holding onto the ropes. And then exactly what I said was going to happen, where John Cena, frustrated, lets go of The Miz, turns around. The Rock, after tired of hearing John Cena talk crap about him, hits a rock bottom on John Cena. The Miz gets the pin. 1, 2, 3. Miz beats John Cena at WrestleMania.
Kept this undefeated streak going.
Why it couldn't have gone to another wrestler, I don't understand. And then Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson hits The Miz with the People's Elbow.
Yeah.
And that's how WrestleMania 27 ends, is The Rock stands tall over everybody, and you just wasted $60, Griff. You wasted $60 for an advertisement for the next year's WrestleMania.
You still haven't paid me for that.
For what? I'll pay you. It's going to happen. Real quick before we go into because this is also around the time where things in WWE start making a change for the better. Real quick, heel Michael Cole. Why was he awful?
He was just annoying.
Oh.
I mean, like,
First off-
he just buried a lot of talent that didn't need to be buried.
Just nonstop. He never and he had that terrible feud with Jerry Lawler that involved Jim Ross.
Yeah, yeah.
Jim Ross became a wrestler for a minute. And it wasn't just like talking up the bad guys. It was he would flat out say, like, Daniel Bryan would enter. "Oh, here comes this guy. This guy sucks.
Yeah,
He's awful." Jerry Lawler never did that as a heel.
He would make fun of them. He would never bury them.
Yeah.
That's the biggest difference of good heel commentators and bad heel commentators. So, like, look at, like, Corey Graves as a recent example.
Corey Graves is a great heel commentator.
He loves to shit on Elias. And it's great. And it's the best. But he never buries Elias. He never is like, he's a bad wrestler because he's
a
blah,
vegan.
blah.
He doesn't have a TV.
Yeah, yeah. It was just like, he just goes like, man, I know people like this, and he is a dick, and I don't like it.
I think the moment I really hated the Michael Cole character, not in the way they wanted me to, was during when NXT was doing the women's NXT.
Okay, I
And
didn't
he-
watch the women's NXT.
I watched it for a second. I kind of stopped watching because of Michael Cole.
Yeah.
This is also I hate Josh Matthews. I learned this watching. Like, God, I hate Josh Matthews.
I don't like him as a commentator. I like him as a backroom.
It's just how can you be so uncharismatic? You have literally you are awful.
Yeah.
How can Todd Grisham?
I don't think he has a good timbre to his voice.
How can Todd Grisham be more entertaining than you?
Yeah, I don't remember what Todd Grissom sounds like.
Anyway, so there's this moment. I think it was like during a talent competition. This is how stupid NXT is.
Yeah.
What's your talent, wrestler? Wrestling? No. What's your other talent?
No. The one that always stands out to me is like, we're going to give you a promo challenge. We're going to give you a word and cut a promo. Okay. The first two people get words like pain, hurt. And then they get to, what was the guy? Eli Wood?
Oh God.
What was it?
Eli
Redwood?
Wood.
Yeah. Redwood?
Eli Cottonwood.
Cottonwood, yeah. This guy, they're like, your word is mustache. What? They literally were just like, what?
Can I just say the best thing was Titus O'Neil going, if you're going to make it a loss, make it a loss. But if you're going to make it a win, make it a win. Titus Worldwide.
Yeah.
But at one point, Michael Cole
came back.
just interrupts the segment by just gonging like he has a gong and he just starts banging it nonstop, and it's like, why am I watching this?
Yeah, like I said, it was one of those things where it always seemed to happen during women's matches.
And it was during this time where like it just was clear that WWE didn't care if you watched it or not. Yeah. What else are you gonna watch?
I will say the one good thing Michael Cole did as a heel is I love the like bromance between him and Miz.
He did a very good job of putting over the Miz.
I loved it. He's like, the Miz is here. Oh God, Miz is here.
He's awesome.
The Miz. He's the best. He's awesome. He's the most must-see WWE champion of all time.
So after Dwayne The Rock Johnson cost John Cena his WrestleMania 27 match, literally the next night, they make their match for WrestleMania 28.
Of which I was pretty.
I mean, it's fine. I was excited for it.
Yeah, I remember we made like gentleman bets on who would win, and guess who won?
You won.
This guy.
I just knowing what I know now.
Yeah. Well, because like my justification was it's in Miami.
Yeah,
you can't have The Rock lose in Miami.
I know, but I didn't think he'd come back for WrestleMania 29.
No, yeah, I just remember all year we had like this whole like you're like no, John Cena's gonna win. He's gonna be passing the torch.
Thank God for CM Punk, because so John Cena wins the title from The Miz at Extreme Rules and then announces that he killed Osama bin Laden.
Oh yeah, that's right. He didn't say that. He's joking. But
John Cena says he killed Osama bin Laden.
The night he won
the
night he won the WWE title was also the night that SEAL Team 6 killed Osama bin Laden.
Like, he cut a promo. He didn't say he killed Osama bin Laden. He just cut a promo. He's like, ladies and gentlemen, we're a bunch of I'm a free-loving American and everything like that. And I just wanted to announce that today at whatever
he said
time,
Osama bin Laden has been compromised.
Did he say compromised?
He said
I thought
compromised.
he said we got him, guys.
No.
We got him.
I would have.
Osama bin Laden has been murdered.
We got him. That'd have been the best if you just been like, we got him.
We got him.
We got him, audience, and everybody just knows, and they're like, USA.
USA. Yeah, I know. No,
and then they played it the next night. John Cena announcing as a proud American.
Yeah, well, John Cena was always kind of that role. He's, like I said, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
You know, the whole America. And
so after he wins the title from The Miz, it just becomes months of just John Cena dominating lesser talents because he says after he won the title, he's going to take it all the way to WrestleMania 28 to take on The Rock. And there's this part of me that's like, yeah, that's probably what's going to happen.
I didn't think they would do that.
I mean, I wouldn't have put him past him at this point. I didn't know great things were going to happen.
If they were smart, they could have done that and then just like have him been off TV for like 7 months.
Like Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, just have him off TV for a while and then let all these other people kind of like get ahead, because as soon as it gets WrestleMania season, it's going to be about those two.
But he wasn't even fed like good talent during this time. That's not to bash the talent, because the talent was fine, but
he did the whole Kane angle, right? The Rise Above Hate.
That was after he lost. I'm talking about before CM Punk.
Oh, that was after he lost. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like during this time, it's like he's mostly feuding with The Miz.
Yeah, and R-Truth.
And then he takes on R-Truth at Capital Punishment.
Where he comes out in the Civil War uniform in the Confederate outfit.
Where R-Truth...
An African-American gentleman came out in a Confederate general outfit.
Oh, it was bad.
On live TV.
It was so bad.
And nobody said anything.
I did. I remember just going, oh.
I think we were watching it together. And I went.
I was like, that's icky.
Yeah, I was just like,
It's not
does
good.
anybody have a problem with this?
No
It's
one-
just like if like Bernie Sanders came out in like a Nazi uniform. Like, it's just like totally not right. It just does not make sense. It's kind of an oxymoron.
And they turned him into this like parent.
So
Our truth.
He was doing this angle we were talking about a little bit of him being kind of like crazy because he turned on John Morrison.
He's been so.
John Morrison called him a smoker.
Our truth since he came in at 2000. What a.
It's like you're really talented.
Jim Morrison called someone a smoker.
It's not even that he called him a smoker. He like the entire basis for our truth's heel turn was John Morrison came out and told our truth, you're just not as athletic. You know, you had to drink water and
Yeah,
I mean you smoke. John Morrison couldn't cut a promo to save his
No,
life.
John Morrison can't talk, but he was all like,
You should
the
put up.
funniest part about it is they're on the outside of the ring this whole time, but they're still standing like they're in front of a camera.
Yeah.
Even though they're not in front of a camera.
Yeah.
Like the camera's like over here, but they're standing like staged over here, and he just goes like, I mean, you're really good for a smoker. And they're like, oh, and he turns on him and beats the hell out of him. And at the
What
end,
happened
he
was
literally
Arch
pulls out a cigarette, takes it, lights it, starts smoking, and then stomping on him.
John Morrison lived past like that era. He's gone, right?
No, you're thinking of Jim Morrison.
No,
from
John
The
Morrison. Yeah, I know.
Doors.
He's talking about John Morrison.
Yeah, John Morrison, the wrestler who looks exactly like
Yeah.
the lead singer of the Doors.
Listen,
Yeah.
this
Okay,
ain't no
yeah.
make
I
believe.
thought you were saying Jim
Yeah,
Morrison
no.
lived too.
No,
yeah.
John Morrison left after this WrestleMania.
Yeah, I believe so. I don't know if he quit or got fired.
He got released.
Released.
I think he might have asked for his release.
yeah.
I feel like he's like the Miz before the Miz was there. He had that kind of like.
Well, they were tag partners.
They were in a.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then
So
who would
like, he came in with Eminem as Johnny Nitro. Johnny Nitro and Joey Mercury. And so when he went to ECW, they kind of tried to push him as like not a main eventer, but ECW main eventer.
Because there's a
And-
difference.
And that was when he feuded with CM Punk, and he was John
Matt
Morrison.
Hardy can be a
And
main
he won
eventer
the
in
ECW
ECW.
title because Chris Benoit died.
Chris Benoit did the Chris Benoit.
Yeah,
murdered children.
he murdered children. My favorite wrestler.
If you
murdered
wanna-
children
if you-
and his wife.
And then killed himself.
And he killed them with his finishing move. He killed them with the crippler crossface.
The killer
And then
crossface.
the killer's crossface.
Benoit wrestled his. Never mind.
No, the match was supposed to be. It was like I think it was December.
No. Because
Well, whatever. It was supposed to be the next pay-per-view, and it was supposed to be CM Punk versus Chris Benoit for the ECW title, which Chris Benoit was supposed to win. He didn't show up.
they turned it into like a 5-pack challenge or something.
Something like that. So then they moved it because they didn't have any plans. Later released that he, did his shtick, I guess you would call it.
He lived up to the gimmick.
He lived the gimmick or died the gimmick, whatever.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It gets pretty dark, man.
Like Eddie Guerrero and his drug problem.
Whoa.
Well, he died because of a heart attack because he did drugs a while ago.
Yeah.
And steroids.
Viva la Razza.
Yeah.
Until 2005.
But yeah, so they replaced him with John Morrison, who was coming in. And he was like, "I'm revamping. I'm a single star now," and he won the ECW championship from CM Punk, and they kind of had a feud for a while. And then eventually, they didn't really have anything for him to do.
So he tag teamed with The
They
Miz.
teamed with the Miz, and they had this little show called the Dirt Sheet.
I love the dirt sheet.
It was literally them because it was on Sci-Fi. Nobody watched ECW, so they would literally just get in front of a kind of like what we're doing right now, in front of like a dirty screen, like a dirt sheet, and just talk crap about the internet fan community.
We want to apologize to Tommy Dreamer for calling him a fat whale.
Yeah, like stuff like that. It was great. It was probably the best work those two have done.
Who would have thought that the Marty Jannetty of that team
Was John Morrison?
was John? Everyone
Yeah.
everyone was like, Miz is the Marty Jannetty of that team. And it was like, yeah. And then all of a sudden,
right.
wait, what? John Morrison isn't anything? Oh, man.
Would you say John Morrison was a good wrestler?
No.
I think he's not a wrestler. He's a high flyer.
Yeah. But you
But
can be
there's
a high
a
flyer
place.
and be a great wrestler. All John Morrison had was high fly.
Yeah, he was a parkour guy. Like him on Tough Enough, he won Tough Enough. That's how he got a job at WWE. He was Tough Enough season 3, and he was like originally like John Morrison was like, who was it? Teddy Long's like bitch or whatever.
Eric
like
Bischoff's.
Eric Bischoff's bitch, and he just kind of like was training at OVW or Florida. I don't remember where, and just finally came up with Eminem. But yeah, so yeah, John Morrison's good. He's great on Lucha Underground. Like honestly, like watch Lucha Underground. He's great on that.
So R-Truth turns heel, and all of a sudden R-Truth is thrust into this main event spot.
Yeah.
But no one's taking him seriously. He's literally just there to lose to John Cena.
I swore I thought he was gonna win it.
And he
I
lost
really
it in
did.
such the stupidest fashion.
Tell me how he lost again.
He comes up to this little kid because he had this whole thing where he hated the little Jimmies.
You bunch of little Jimmies.
And he takes
Isn't
the...
little Jimmy a condom?
yeah.
So like, I have a feeling that's where he got that from, but he doesn't realize that's where he got that.
He takes the hat. He takes the kid's hat, and he takes the kid's drink. He takes a sip from it. He hands the drink back to the kid. The kid throws it in his face, and then he gets back in the ring. John Cena hits him with the attitude adjustment. 1, 2, 3. John Cena wins, lol. And we're wasting our goddamn lives watching this right now.
Yeah.
Because on the other part, you have Randy Orton dominating SmackDown, and just he's in this feud with Christian, which is a really good...
Oh, yeah.
Which is a great feud, but it's...
Sorry. That whole, like, him being disqualified angle with him against Christian was fantastic.
No, don't get me wrong.
Fantastic.
The feud was good. The problem was it just Randy Orton.
No, it was bullshit because Christian finally won the
Just
world
won
title.
the world title.
Lost it like
after his best friend Edge retired.
yeah, literally 2 days later on TV. 4 days later.
Furious.
I was gobsmacked.
I flipped out
I was
because
like,
I had predicted Christian was going to win the world title.
Yeah, we all did.
Yeah.
You were like, yeah, he's gonna win because it makes sense. You give him the rub because Edge is gone,
And he
It's kinda
deserved
like a nice
it.
thing to do.
He should have had a run, and
Yeah.
then it's like, no,
Yeah,
Randy Orton.
yeah.
Who's going to bury SmackDown? Christian?
One more chance.
Aren't the same person?
No.
No.
Christian is that guy who Vince McMahon wanted to put a blue dot over.
Is
Yeah, yeah.
Christian the guy who has he's the electronic intro, right? No, that's the Walls of Christian, right?
No, that's
No,
Chris
Walls
Jericho.
of Jericho.
Fuck.
So,
I know Christian he's on
so Jericho is he's the Ayatollah of rock and rolla. He
He is the best in the world at what he
Y2J,
does.
Best in the world.
stupid the rock version of MTV, right? He's the one who like
VH1? Yeah.
Yeah. So and then Christian, he got famous because he was teamed with Edge as Edge and Christian, and they did the TLC matches. You know the legendary TLC matches.
Christian is, but I literally don't fucking remember.
It's funny because
And
they
you're why he lost the title 2 days
because
after.
they're both Canadian. They're both Canadian.
Same person. One you just
They tag team together, so it's
did
crazy
tag
you
team
bring that up.
together.
Chris Jericho.
Yeah, no, they tag team
They
together.
tag team together.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Yep. For a while.
I bet you $1 Canadian.
Oh yeah. What is this? Is this ass cream? Hey, don't touch my Christian's ass cream.
Christian was the best.
That was great.
So Orton doesn't lose the title. Like once Orton has the title back from Christian, because they trade it once. Frustrating. Randy Orton doesn't lose the title for a very long time.
Right.
So you've got this product where you have literally no choice but to watch either John Cena dominate
Or
Randy Orton dominate until one fateful Raw in Las Vegas when CM Punk, who we've been talking about all night, comes out. And I saw this live. I think I'm the
I will
only...
state this right now. Call me a mark. Call me a whatever you want. This is the greatest promo of all time.
As much as I knew it wasn't real, there was this part of me that went, what if this was real? So I'll set the stage. John Cena is about to bury R-Truth again in a match. It's a tables match.
Yeah.
It was Raw Roulette. That's how I remember Nexus
yeah,
was
yeah.
Raw Roulette. So CM Punk comes out during this tables match. John Cena has a table set up. He has R-Truth set up for an attitude adjustment. He's getting ready to hit it. CM Punk just tips the table over.
Yeah.
So R-Truth just eats an AA. He doesn't help R-Truth. He's just like, you're not going to win the match, John Cena.
Yeah. And he's just sitting there just.
So John Cena CM Punk comes in. He starts fighting John Cena. John Cena gets him up in an AA. Then R-Truth spears John Cena through a table. And I flipped out. That was cool.
Yeah.
And then CM Punk proceeds to cut the greatest promo I've ever heard.
Yep.
But a little backstory before we give this. CM Punk had decided that he was not going to re-sign with the company once his contract was up. His contract was up the day of the Money in the Bank pay-per-view.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Like,
I think they
It
extended
was the day after. It was
I
the
think
day
it was
after.
supposed to be a couple days before, but they extended it to make it to the pay-per-view.
Yeah. So CM Punk had just won the #1 contendership to face John Cena at Money in the Bank.
Beat Rey Mysterio
And Del Rio.
Del Rio, right?
He had been very vocally unhappy about creative and what they were doing for him, especially vocal over the Miz main eventing WrestleMania
Yeah,
27,
that was his big gripe.
feeling he did not deserve it, feeling that he was rightfully so the top heel of the company.
Oh hell yeah, dude.
Because it's like, name the top heel.
Yeah.
Before WrestleMania 27, who was the top heel?
I'm trying to think of Miz.
Anyone?
Miz.
Miz, but the Miz was. I'm sorry, CM
He
Punk.
wasn't. I know. They didn't have a lot of.
I
good
could
heels.
see fear in the Miz's eyes
Yeah.
during his segments, where it's just like, I really hope I'm doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
So in this promo, he first off says, "I don't hate you, John Cena. I hate this idea that you're the best." Which immediately I'm like, I'm listening.
Yeah.
Because you're not the best. I'm the best. I just watched this promo before I came here.
So good. I am the best wrestler
And
in
at
the
the time,
world.
they had there were rumors online that WWE had banned the word wrestler.
Yeah.
So because they were being referred to as sports entertainers, and they were no longer the World Wrestling Entertainment, they were just WWE. Which Triple H immediately was like, "Well, what do we do? Wrestle?" And I was like, "I like you, Triple H.
Yeah.
Never change."
Yeah, it's like no, it's a loophole through
Yeah.
legalities.
So he refers to himself as a wrestler. Immediately go, "Oh, he said the word. He
Yeah, I
said
know.
the word."
I remember that was a big deal. I went, oh shit.
And then he starts to talk about how John Cena, the only thing John Cena is better at than CM Punk is kissing Vince McMahon's ass, which is
Kissing Vince
whatever.
McMahon's
Then he
ass.
says, "You're as good as Hulk Hogan was,
You're almost as good as Hulk Hogan was.
who was in TNA at the time." So he's name dropping
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan. It's like, whoa.
But you're not as good. I don't know. You're not as good as Dwayne.
love
He's a pretty good ass kicker.
Yeah.
I love that promo, man. I've seen it like 50 times.
Oh, it's so, it's the best part of watching his documentary is getting to see the promo.
Yeah.
He name drops Paul Heyman, who was at the time not mentioned.
Yeah.
He name dropped Brock Lesnar, who at the time was not mentioned.
He's split, just like I'm gonna split. The only difference is when I leave, I'm gonna be carrying that WWE Championship with me.
And I kind of think like the fact that he kept mentioning the championship was what let me know that this was not this was not real.
It is real. So
Well, I mean, his frustrations were real. My thing was, if this was him just coming out
Oh,
and,
yeah, okay.
and
I see what
saying
you're
whatever the hell he wanted, he would not have cared
he
about
had
the title.
free range. Like,
Exactly.
There's like, here, go talk.
No, everything he said was real. It's a work shoot. There you go.
Worked.
That's what we should call it. A shoot that's not a shoot.
What's something that's not a work, but it's not a shoot?
Work.
Shoot.
I like that. We
Clever.
should use it. We
I
should
like
use
it.
it. I love, and then he talks about how he's going to take the title and defend it in various. He name dropped New Japan.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Which I
no,
forget-
I don't think he said New Japan.
He does. He
I
says
think he
maybe-
said back to Japan.
No, he says maybe I'll take it back to New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Okay.
Or maybe I'll take it back to Ring of Honor, which I was like, I know Ring of Honor.
Hi, Colt Cabana.
That was the best.
whoops,
breaking the fourth
broken
wall.
the fourth wall. It's so great.
Watch it on YouTube. It's amazing. Then he calls John Laurinaitis a douchebag.
Yeah, your douchebag yes man, like
John
John Laurinaitis.
Then he refers to Stephanie McMahon as idiotic.
Yeah, you're idiotic and your doofus son-in-law.
Oh, he called Triple H a doofus.
I think that's actually 100%. Like, you know how there's always been there's the whole thing that Triple H hates CM Punk.
I don't
CM
think
Punk's-
Triple H hates
I
CM
think
Punk.
he does. But I think the reason why he hates him is because of this promo.
Called him a doofus.
He called him a doofus.
I'm
who's
not a doofus.
He's like, I would like to believe that this company would be better off when Vince McMahon is dead, but I know it's just going to keep rolling with his what bimbo
Idiotic daughter
and
and
his
her
doofus son-in-law. I think that's honestly what did it for Triple H. I wouldn't be surprised. Not that Triple H is petty, but like the fact that like someone like disrespects him on a public forum like that, I think that can get under someone's skin.
Yeah, I know, but that just seems stupid.
Yeah.
CM Punk was so good. I think, like, listening to that podcast he had with Colt Cabana, I think he was right.
Sorry, I was just thinking of more CM Punk promos.
Oh, CM Punk's...
Oh, OMG, it's Kevin Nash. LOL, thought he was dead. TTYL.
Can anybody recite the alphabet backwards? Ugh. Just no, that promo he did where he like just was like, "Did you call Vladimir Kozlov after you fired him?" The day after Vladimir Kozlov got fired.
Did you fly down to Florida to let his family know that he was being released, or did you do it over the phone like a coward?
So one of the best parts about the promo is it literally just they shut his mic off.
Yeah.
And then he just starts screaming into the camera, and then Raw just literally ends.
Yeah.
There's no real.
Well, they cut it off because he was starting to talk crap about the Be a Star program, which is like a big.
And Vince McMahon's like,
no,
don't be a bully.
We have this big bully campaign. Vince McMahon,
he's not
the
being a
biggest bully.
star.
One time, and they was just like, and stuff like that.
At the camera. I also think that was planned.
You think?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think it was. I really don't think it was.
And then we go to, so that's the build to Money in the Bank. They keep trying to get CM Punk to re-sign his contract. He refuses in some great segments.
Yeah, it honestly broke the wrestling world.
It made me, it was the coolest wrestling has been in a long time.
Yeah. And like people who didn't watch wrestling are coming back because of this one promo.
And then
not even wrestling.
And then we go, Jim Rome he's on Jim Rome and GQ and all these magazines for just saying, I don't like you, Vince McMahon. I don't like how this company's run.
But he's just like CM Punk has like this really scary amount of charisma.
He's just honest, and it's refreshing.
And not a lot of people have this. I can tell you like 2 people who have this, but he has this weird thing where he's on a microphone in front of 1 million people, and he just talks like he's talking like we are right now.
Oh,
and it's really scary.
Where he's just sitting in the ring. Great.
There's only 2 people I've seen recently who do that, and that's Chris Hero or Cassius Ohno. When he's in the ring, he just talks.
Yeah.
You know, like I remember him cutting a promo at PWG that I went to, and he was just like, maybe it wasn't PWG, maybe I saw it on TV, I don't know. But he's just like, everybody wants to talk about being the best. Well, the best doesn't matter when you're the greatest of all time. I was like, damn, dude. And the other person who does that, Adam Cole.
Adam Cole, baby.
Adam Cole could talk on a microphone in front of billions of people and talk like he's talking to you, like I am to you.
So finally,
like, whoa, dude, you're scary. Ooh.
Finally, after like what seemed like 3 years of just John Cena and Randy Orton, there's this bright spot. Like if you like wrestling and you're not 7, we have a guy for you, and it's CM Punk, and he's gonna go face John Cena in the main event of Money in the Bank. And really, Money in the Bank 2011 is, and I labeled it, a turning point in the company. Like, to me, it signifies, like, the change because, like, so many decisions in what went on during those matches represent the way WWE is now.
Something we kind of skipped over. I don't remember as well as the pipe bomb, but his promos with Vince McMahon trying to re-sign the contracts.
That's when he asked John Laurinaitis if he called, like...
Yeah. No, but he, like, said some crazy things. Like, one of my favorite lines he's ever said, he's like, I'm in charge at this moment. I'm going to kick you in the balls, and you'll thank me for it. Like, that stuff is like, where's the ice cream bars? Like,
and Vince McMahon's just like, you can tell Vince McMahon likes CM Punk.
Listen here, Phil. He's like, Phil. Oh, that's how we're going to play this. It is so good.
So we go into Money in the Bank, which is in CM Punk's hometown of Chicago. And let me tell you something. Dude. You have never heard a crowd flip the fuck out until you have been in Chicago and CM Punk's music hits.
I read an article about that. Just the entrance of CM Punk and how they were saying like it's so perfectly like produced and like choreographed to the point that it's like one of the most beautiful looking
every
entrances.
Sign in the crowd is a CM Punk sign.
But even like the music comes in, it's just like you know that stuff, and then it lets it play for like a good minute.
Yeah,
like a minute long, and the crowd's just like, yeah, let's fucking do this, tear him up, yeah.
I think
then he finally walks out, slow, brand new trunks, brand new T-shirt,
his
most
best
gorgeous shirt,
his
ever.
Best shirt.
I still have one. So good. I'll give you a website if you really want one. I know a website.
Sweet.
And he just comes out and he's like so relaxed.
I told my friend it's
so
like
calm.
Imagine like you're watching like it's like Sephiroth almost like the secret boss almost where it's like you go in and everything's just about him. And then what I love the fact that John Cena just comes out. The crowd's booing the shit out of him and he just walks straight face to the ring. He doesn't do any of his stuff. He's just like champion.
Well, because John Cena had a very similar, very, very similar thing. So he knows what like he's doing in that situation because ECW One Night Stand 2.
Or when he was in Toronto and
Yeah.
took on Edge.
Yeah. But like the main one for me is the ECW crowd.
Yeah.
He like takes off his shirt, throws it to the like whatever, and they throw it back.
It was great.
It was great. They even had the same sign. If John Cena wins, we riot.
So it's a 33. It's a long match.
Yeah,
It's back and forth. It's you know, the people will always talk about 5-star matches, and you watch the match. It's not. That's a 5-star match.
I only use like 5-star ratings from Meltzer as like that match is worth watching.
Yeah.
You know, I will say like things like Okada Omega are definitely worth the ratings they're getting.
Yeah.
I remember. Oh, we're getting sidetracked, but the star rating is just there as like a recommendation, and I feel like if it's above a 4, you should give it a shot. And that's how I look at it.
So the match, and we'll get into some of these other things. The match ends when John Cena has CM Punk in the STF.
Mm-hmm.
And then Vince McMahon comes out, and they try to recreate kind of the Montreal screw job.
This is the one part of this.
Yeah.
They do this way too much. They go to this well way too often.
I just feel like it was unnecessary for this one. If you wanted Vince McMahon to come out, you could have just had him come out.
Yeah, and then they had John Cena deck John Laurinaitis, right?
Yeah. And then so John Cena comes up to Vince McMahon. He's like, it's not going to go down this way. He gets in the ring. CM Punk
just
picks him up,
yep.
hits him with the go to sleep. 1, 2, 3. CM Punk last night in the company wins the WWE Championship.
Vince McMahon gets all on the headphones. He's like,
Bring out Del Rio.
Bring out Del Rio. Cash it in.
The Mexican one.
I can't say it. I'm not going to say that. Woo! That was almost bad. But yeah, so he's just like, I'll give Del Rio out. Del Rio comes in. He just gives him a swick roundhouse kick to the side of the head and bolts.
You know, CM Punk was not the most athletic, but his kicks were awesome.
Yeah, he did not jujitsu. He did like kickboxing. Right?
Yeah. So he hops over the rail, but before he leaves, he blows one last kiss to Vince McMahon. He's out of there, and then he tweets a picture of the WWE Championship in his fridge.
Yeah.
I mean,
that garbage-looking title.
Obviously, you know he's going to come back, but in a bubble, best moment ever.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Then in this pay-per-view also, like, I mean, you have Del Rio win the Raw Money in the Bank, which was expected.
Didn't Kane win?
No, that was the first time.
Okay.
But you had Mark Henry defeat the Big Show. This is when Mark Henry started the Hall of Fame.
Dude, Mark Henry was so cool at this point.
Mark Henry.
Hell yeah, dude. Mark
Henry needs to be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah,
Get Jeff Jarrett out.
I think he's the last one. I know they just like said like full disclosure.
Hillbilly Jim.
Hillbilly Jim is the newest one, but I feel like they have probably one more.
I think Mark Henry needs to be.
I think Mark Henry might be it.
But then you also, most importantly, after the CM Punk victory, you have Daniel Bryan winning the SmackDown Money in the Bank. Which came out of nowhere because I thought Wade Barrett was going to win it.
Oh, yeah, dude. So I was listening to some podcast. Don't remember what it was at the time. And the guy said, I will make a bet that Daniel Bryan will be world champion by the end of the year.
And he was.
And I went, holy shit, how is that possible?
Which brings me into...
They booked him like garbage.
Which brings us to talk about Daniel Bryan. This is my
favorite match.
So Daniel Bryan...
This is one of my favorite matches all the time.
Had been a face pretty much his entire WWE run because he's a small guy. He's a really good technical wrestler. He wins Money in the Bank out of nowhere. Yeah. I'm happy about it. But it was literally out of nowhere. Like,
yeah, it makes more sense once you think about like the world title as more of like a secondary title like a U.S. or an Intercontinental.
But when you look at WWE's track record, I think one of the worst things you could be during this time period is just a really great wrestler.
Yeah.
He was fine with the promos, but they kept on always trying to tweak him. Like he did the crap with the Bellas and he did the crap, well, with one of the Bellas.
Yeah, he did. And then it ended up being like with Gail Kim or something like that.
Yeah, and then he felt
like, sorry, ladies, I already got a girl. It's
I just felt sorry for you guys.
Yeah. And it's like what?
I'm gonna do this thing with AJ Lee. Anyway, so he's
AJ Lee. Right?
He's arguably the best wrestler on the roster, as my slideshow says. He wins Money in the Bank. He carries it for a while. They don't really do anything with him during this time.
No, they were kind of building him with heat.
Which is what they
were kind of doing like an abusive boyfriend kind of angle.
Not this. Yeah.
Yeah, like not abusive, like physically abusive, like emotionally abusive.
Like a jerk. I think they did that like right before he cashed in Money in the Bank. Like he's still a babyface while he's Money in the Bank, but
He was a babyface when he cashed.
they're doing this thing where the Big Show is like buddies with him and stuff like that, which was dumb.
He made him cash in on Mark Henry. I remember.
No,
he tried to, and then they were like, Mark Henry was not unable to
then he
compete at the
cashed in
time,
on the Big Show.
so they avoided the contract.
So Daniel Bryan cashes in on the Big Show at TLC, and you have this strange. I remember the picture. You have this weird moment where Cody Rhodes is the Intercontinental Champion. Evan Bourne and Kofi Kingston are the tag team champions. CM Punk and Daniel Bryan are the top champions of the company.
Yeah.
Who is he? Zack Ryder, which we'll talk about. That's a podcast for another day. Zack Ryder's United States champion. Rest in peace.
R.I.P. dude.
And Beth Phoenix is women's champion. So suddenly all of your top your champions are really good wrestlers.
Yeah, and this is kind of like, at least for me, it seemed like a turning point.
Exactly.
It wasn't a full turn, but it was like 90 degrees, not 180, of them trying to like work with more work. Like,
it was Survivor Series. That's when all this stuff happened.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna correct you, but I didn't know, so I didn't.
No,
say
it was
anything.
TLC because he beat John Morrison at Survivor Series.
So it was like this weird turn where they were starting to work more on work ethic.
Yeah.
And like people who can go. Because I remember also, like, I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but one of my favorite matches of all time is CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan.
At Over the Limit?
Over the Limit.
Oh, yeah.
It was like 40 minutes long, and it like ended with a roll-up. Very Ring of Honor, New Japan, not New Japan maybe, but like Ring of Independent, like go for long, NWA style, where it's more about the match than it is about beating up your opponent.
So we end 2011 after the worst WrestleMania ever, where it was a fucking commentator feud.
Yeah.
The Miz is champion. Nicole Snooki Polizzi has the best moment of the entire pay-per-view, next to Triple H beating the shit out of Undertaker with unprotected chair shots.
Right.
And all of a sudden you have CM Punk as champion, Daniel Bryan is champion, Zack Ryder is champion, all of these great wrestlers, and you still have this, I'll say it, really good build for John Cena versus The Rock.
I would say it was nice because you knew he wasn't going to be like messing with the main event picture.
He's just messing with Zack Ryder's career.
I really think that, okay, so
John Cena
we're not going to
killed.
talk, you said another podcast another day, but I don't think John Cena had ill intentions. I think his plan was
I don't
to
think he cared.
I think his plan was that he was trying to build sympathy for Zack Ryder because everybody booed John Cena, and it just ended up backfiring.
And
he just kind of miscalculated.
Him and Kane and John Cena ruined Zack Ryder's career.
Yeah.
And
Rise above hate.
so we go to 2012 with this new landscape. Later on in 2012 is when Triple H takes the terrible NXT and turns it into what it is now.
Yeah.
So we go to WrestleMania 28. We already know what the main event is. Chris Jericho returns to face CM Punk in a feud that was kind of...
Love that feud.
I like the matches.
I know you were like probably iffy about it. But
The matches were fine, but the feud I thought was kind of heavy-handed.
I thought out of all the matches, like I have to look at the card again, but I thought of all the matches on that card, that one made the most sense.
Yeah.
And it probably was. I thought it should have been the main
I just
event.
think they should have built it around the best versus the best in the world versus the best in the world at what I do. Instead, they tried to force this, like, you're a bastard, CM Punk. Your dad's drunk. And it's all real stuff, but it's like, it goes back to the Undertaker, Shawn Michaels 1 match. Sometimes the best matches are just matches.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I agree with that, but I think for this one it made sense because it felt like Chris Jericho felt offended that he was calling himself the best in the world.
Yeah.
And because of that, he started to get this is what I'm reading into it, so whatever.
Right.
But I felt like he was trying to hide the fact that maybe CM Punk is actually better than him.
He is.
And what Chris Jericho's coming in like, I'm the best in the world, but in his back of his mind he's like, maybe he is.
I know. I just wish
and because of that, it seems like he's trying to play mind games with him and bringing up things like that he's notoriously had problems with, like his family,
I think like when they did that bit where Chris Jericho caught him drinking during a show, I was like, okay.
No, because he poured beer down his face too.
Yeah,
cool.
And
you know what the original plan was for that? Chris Jericho talked about it on one of his podcasts.
Yeah.
It was great. He was supposed to tattoo him. He was gonna tattoo CM Punk. I think he was gonna tattoo like Y2J or something like that, or, like live on Raw, like beating him up instead of pouring bottle.
Yeah.
And smashing with a bottle or whatever. He was supposed to get a tattoo gun and just tattoo like Y2J.
And then they realized, oh wait, tattoos are permanent.
No, apparently. Oh, you know what? It wasn't what I listened to a podcast called We Watch Wrestling.
Yeah.
And the guy Matt McCarthy who hosts it, he used to be a writer, and he was talking about that was his pitch, is to have that. I believe. I could be mistaken. Sorry, don't hurt me.
But so they have it's a really good match, and actually WrestleMania 28's main event stuff is really good. But let's talk about this Sheamus Daniel Bryan match for 18 seconds.
Best thing that could have ever happened
to
Daniel Bryan
in the long run. But here's what happens. So the bell rings. Daniel Bryan pauses Sheamus. He turns around to kiss his girlfriend, AJ Lee, with his actual girlfriend watching backstage. We'll talk about that some other time.
She's lovely.
So Daniel Bryan kisses AJ Lee. He turns around, eats a brogue kick. 1, 2, 3. 18 seconds long. Sheamus is now world heavyweight champion.
And I believe they broke the record for the shortest WrestleMania match.
And
that was held by Chavo and Kane.
And the crowd was pissed off.
Oh yeah, dude. It caused a revolution, dude.
Oh, that's why I
say it's the greatest thing that ever happened to Daniel Bryan, because without that moment, I don't think Daniel Bryan would have ever been
Big
pushed.
Show beats Cody Rhodes in a match that sucked. And it wasn't good for Cody. I have a problem with Big Show. They let him win when he shouldn't win.
Okay.
Sometimes, like when he single-handedly destroyed the Straight Edge Society.
Yeah, that was dope.
And he beat Cody Rhodes for no reason. Kelly and Marina Menounos defeated Beth Phoenix and Eve Torres. This is when Eve turned heel.
Maria Menounos with their Cinemark or Fathom events, whatever thing. Yeah. I was at a movie theater.
Best, and then we have Undertaker taking on Triple H in a Hell in a Cell in an end of an era that didn't end.
That match was great, though.
It was a great match. It was a well-told story. Better than their WrestleMania 27 match.
What I like about it is it kind of lived up to the name, not in the literal terms, but it was a match that was definitely booked like an Attitude Era match.
Oh yeah, and it was
a lot of emotion and a lot of run-ins and a lot of storytelling.
And you needed Shawn Michaels for that match.
Yeah.
As the special guest referee. I mean, I love that part where he super kicks, out of retaliation, super kicks Undertaker.
And then
he does the 1-2, and then when Undertaker kicks out, Shawn Michaels goes to the corner of the ring because he realizes, like, oh my God, what did I just do? I interfered in this match.
Yeah.
This is getting too real, guys. This is getting too real. And then I love how the match ends. Triple H, after I think eating Tombstone Piledriver on the steel steps.
Yeah, I believe that was it.
Gets up, like staggers up, crotch chops Undertaker.
Yeah.
Then Undertaker hits him with one more tombstone.
Not to cut you off, but I would like to say that Triple H has the best crotch chop in the entire world.
Oh yeah, if you had to
if you had to make a top 10 list of crotch chops, he's
X-Pac?
number 1. X-Pac is like -4.
No, X-Pac's like number 2.
No.
No one does the crotch chop as
he does it excessively. More times doesn't make it better.
I disagree.
Okay.
Okay, who is the number 2 crotch chop?
Number 2 crotch chop?
Because Triple H is number 1.
Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn does a great crotch chop.
And then he kind of lets his hands twitch.
Yeah,
a little bit. I got you. I got you.
2 fingers like guns. He's like, boo! Look at my dick.
I get it. You know what? You're
Young
right.
Bucks number 3.
Number 3. Number 4 is Shawn Michaels never really did the crotch chop.
No, he did the X one though. He was like,
he
was very slow. No, he did, because remember he would do the arms and then he'd just be like,
yeah.
And he would also do the thing where he would, like what Young Bucks do, where he like sits down and kind of does it like that.
Yeah, you're right.
I probably looked super flattering there, but whatever.
And then we had Team Johnny Laurinaitis defeat Team Teddy Long for control of both Raw and SmackDown.
Who was on the teams?
It was David Otunga, Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, Jack Swagger, Mark Henry, and The Miz for Team Johnny Laurinaitis.
Okay.
Taking on Booker T, Kofi Kingston, The Great Khali, R-Truth, Santino Marella, and Zack Ryder. And the way the match ended was poor Zack Ryder.
Hey, Zack Ryder, if you need someone to talk to.
His girlfriend, Eve Torres, comes in.
Oh, yeah.
Kisses him and then kicks him in the nuts. The Miz hits a skull-crushing finale. 1, 2, 3.
Right.
Team Johnny Laurinaitis wins.
Yet again, hey, Zach, if you need someone to ever talk to, You can follow
John
me on
C-
Twitter
John Cena.
at Griff Grizzly, and we can talk. You know, man, I'm a good listener.
John
I
Cena
understand.
ruined Zack Ryder's career.
I don't think he meant to do it. I
know,
really
but
don't.
he
Because
did.
if you think about it, like in the precipice of his like internet popularity, he thanked John Cena.
I know, but you can't. Although in reality, CM Punk helps.
Oh yeah. He also thanked CM
I know,
Punk.
but
But I
you
just remember also like him playing with the toys. And
can't
what are
ignore.
you doing? I'm just trying to get over.
I loved it, but you can't ignore the fact. Like, yes, he probably didn't mean to kill Zack Ryder's
Right,
career.
right.
John Cena killed
Oh
Zack
yeah,
Ryder's.
he totally did.
And then you had CM Punk defeat Chris Jericho, but it's kind of like
match.
it's
I
kind of
love
like
the
the
match.
Triple H Randy Orton
It's only
match.
17 minutes. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one.
It's
How long
kind
was that match?
22 minutes.
Okay,
It's
that's
kind of like the CM Punk the Triple H Randy Orton match at WrestleMania 25, where the storyline kind of dictated CM Punk f's up Chris Jericho,
yeah.
but it never really happened because if CM Punk gets disqualified, CM Punk loses the WWE
I
Championship.
don't remember that being a stipulation.
No, John
That's weird.
Laurinaitis made a stipulation.
Oh, okay.
And then The Rock defeated John Cena in a really good match.
I thought it was all right.
I mean, it's John Cena and The Rock. The thing about John Cena is John Cena can go. The problem with John Cena is he's only going to go if he's motivated,
If he's motivated, yeah, for sure.
which is ridiculous.
But that's why I think like I've changed my opinion on him over
Same.
the last couple of years because, especially when he won the U.S. title a couple years back, he really like tried to be like, he wanted to try to prove critics wrong, and show that he could actually go.
And he did.
And
it
he
was
did.
And
He was going at a different pace that he wasn't used to, so he had a lot of flubs. But like he's finally coming to that point where he's like you could tell he likes wrestling.
Yeah.
And he likes to watch wrestling. Because like especially now he's doing like the Okada style.
he's not going to put over a Baron Corbin. He'll put over a Kevin Owens.
Yeah, because
he'll
he
put over an AJ
respects-
Styles.
He respects him and everything he's done.
Like a John Cena loss means something.
Yeah.
So he's not just going to give it to somebody he doesn't think deserves it.
Like Elias. Oh wait. He gave it to Elias.
He did.
Great for Elias. I like Elias.
And so the
Hi,
reason,
Elias.
and that was WrestleMania 28. A year later, you have the Shield debut. You have the NXT becoming a real thing. I think they have their first events after WrestleMania 28.
Yeah, it was right when the network came
Yeah,
out. When the
WrestleMania-
network came out, NXT really tried to become like a
Yeah,
third
WrestleMania
promotion.
29, like around WrestleMania 29 is when you had the network. I think that's when they did their first. They had like
I think
Unstoppable
30
or something.
Wasn't 30 like the first like WrestleMania with network? I believe it was.
No, WrestleMania 29 was because CM Punk was still around to promote the network.
Okay. Yeah. But I remember because they did Arrival,
Yeah.
NXT Arrival, where it was Bo Dallas versus Neville
A great match.
in a ladder match. Can I
You
just
had-
say Bo Dallas,
Very underrated.
very underrated.
Very good talent.
He had the best exit in NXT history.
I think his heels. I loved Bo leave. I thought Bo.
Hey, you guys need to leave. You guys leave. Stop. No, you leave.
I know that when you guys are chanting.
No, I'm
Bo
serious,
leave,
guys. You guys gotta leave. They're like,
Bo
Bo,
leave.
leave. Bo, leave. No, you leave.
And then they chase him out.
Yeah.
So you go from this time where where WWE's really trying to find their voice as a PG company.
Yeah.
You see them doing it the wrong way at WrestleMania 27.
Mm-hmm.
And while WrestleMania 28, not the greatest WrestleMania, is the sign of really good things to come.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, after WrestleMania 29, bad stuff happened where CM Punk walked out of the company. Daniel Bryan barely...
So I got staff on my ass.
Daniel Bryan went, well, I'm injured, can't wrestle anymore, and now they're making me retire. Also, the Ultimate Warrior is now a Hall of Famer.
That racist guy is
But-
a Hall of Famer.
The reason I wanted
He
to
probably
talk...
tried to change his life in the last couple of years. Probably why they allowed it.
Yeah, the reason I want to talk about WrestleMania 26 to WrestleMania 28 is because we're kind of in that phase right now. John Cena's career is winding down.
Right.
Randy Orton's career is winding down.
Mm-hmm.
Triple H is definitely, I'm only going to wrestle at WrestleMania.
I think he's got this upcoming match and one more. One
Yeah.
more WrestleMania and then he's done.
Who do you think goes over Triple H's last match?
Last match?
Kevin Owens. Either Kevin
Oh,
Owens.
you
or-
were asking who he faces?
Yeah.
Finn Balor.
Finn
Balor versus Triple H is going to be his final match.
I think that. Yeah, I see that now.
I think he'll feud with Batista on a SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Has Undertaker lost yet?
Yeah, he lost to
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar. And like,
At WrestleMania 30,
let,
he lost.
let me tell you my WrestleMania 30 experience with I'll just talk about the Undertaker Brock Lesnar match. It was so obvious Brock Lesnar was going to lose.
Oh yeah, totally.
I was literally just staring at my tablet while the match was going on. Brock Lesnar hits an F5. 1, 2, 3. Oh, Brock Lesnar won. What? Wait, what? What? What the? I'm looking at my roommates because I had roommates at the time. I'm like staring. I'm like, what just happened? Everyone in the audience is making the same face I'm making, just like, what? It was like,
Down just like that.
yeah.
Undefeated.
Yeah, it's like an 11-minute. He got
21
first
and
off,
1.
He got concussed very early during the match.
That's why there's that conspiracy theory that Paul Heyman loves to joke about, but that
Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar pinned him.
I think the best promo Brock Lesnar's ever cut after
Because who's going to stop Brock Lesnar from pinning you?
the best promo Brock Lesnar ever cut was after he defeated the Undertaker and was like, "Of course I beat the Undertaker. What is he like some mythical being?"
I like it when he's like, I like it when he talked to Heath Slater. He's like, I don't give a shit about your kids.
when he was like, "Why wouldn't I beat the Undertaker? He's like a 50-year-old man. What? He's not what? Like people think he's like some mythical creature." And I screamed because I was like, "That's exactly why he was gonna win,
Dude,
because he's a mythical creature."
My reaction to that was like,
Same year he came back, Brock Lesnar?
No,
it was like a year after.
Brock Lesnar's return is a series of some bad decisions early
Unfortunate
on,
events.
and then Brock Lesnar going, "I'm Brock Lesnar. If you're not going to book me right, I don't want to be here."
Yeah, it was pretty much like he got brought in, and
Job
then
to
he jobbed
Triple
to
H.
Triple H, kind of
Job to
prove
John
that he
Cena
was,
first.
I think it was to prove that he was willing to do whatever it took to like be a part of the company. Because being a part of the company is not about winning; it's about putting on a show. So him losing to Triple H, I think, was more about that.
So now you have a lot like WrestleMania 26. You have these new up and coming talents. You have people like Roman Reigns, who's fine. He's fine.
He's fine.
I think people's excuse for not liking him is weak.
His excuse is because Daniel Bryan.
Yes.
100%. Like Daniel Bryan was supposed to. He came back for that Royal Rumble that he won, and people were pissed.
People always say the same thing about Roman Reigns. He puts on good matches. I just don't like how he's shoved down our throats. But he puts on good matches.
He puts on okay matches, I think.
If you give him
If you put him with a guy who can put on a 5-star match with another person who can put on a 5-star match,
So are we
he
saying-
can put on a 3.5.
Are we saying Elias can put on a 5-star match?
No. I don't think he had a great match with Elias.
They did.
When?
During a Raw when he was Intercontinental Champion.
I don't really watch.
Yeah.
Raw. I watch
I've
highlights.
exposed you.
I don't watch Raw anymore because it sucks.
I
and it's
William
too long.
Regaled your Goldberg.
But I watch all the highlights. I keep up and I watch all the pay-per-views. I watch a lot of independent wrestling. So, but no, I feel like Roman Reigns can be carried to a good match.
Yeah.
But I don't think he can put on a good match.
But to all of those people, because we got to wrap this up.
Yeah.
3-hour podcast. Look at that.
Jesus
Too
Christ.
sweet.
I mean, like, all right.
Yeah! We're going to get sued. Anyway,
Cease.
to sum up, guys, the product goes through phases where it's not always what you want it to be, but it's leaps and bounds better than what it used to be.
Yeah, and honestly, right now, the product is better than it's ever been,
You
truthfully.
have
I know I
AJ
just said I don't watch Raw and SmackDown live
Yeah.
because,
But
I
you
have a
watch it.
job. I work nights, so I don't usually get to watch that stuff live. So I watch it on YouTube, and it's great. I love it. But the wrestling talent right now is
You have
far
AJ
exceeds
Styles.
any
as
AJ Styles, Finn Balor,
they're-
Seth Rollins. You got
Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn. You got all these top tier talents.
You have Braun freaking Strowman.
Dude, they got Roderick Strong on 205 Live.
Oh,
now,
Roderick
dude.
Strong is so amazing.
Holy shit, dude. Like, that's it. I don't watch Raw and SmackDown, but I watch NXT and 205
Oh yeah,
every week.
And then you have these up like Adam Cole's coming up. You have and homegrown talents too, like the Velveteen Dream.
Dude, Velvet D-E. I can't do
He
it.
is going to be huge.
D-R-E-A.
You have women's wrestlers who are on par with men wrestlers. And I wouldn't be surprised, not this year's WrestleMania, I wouldn't be surprised if next year's WrestleMania Charlotte main events.
Nah, this is the main event next year. It will be a women's match, and it's going to be Ronda Rousey versus Asuka.
Fair enough.
It's going to
Triple
be
threat. Charlotte's in it.
I think what they're going to do is have Asuka. I guess we're kind of jumping a little bit, but I think Asuka's going to win from Alexa Bliss at WrestleMania, and then be drafted and Charlotte and her are gonna flip. Champions are gonna flip. Charlotte's gonna go to Raw. Asuka's gonna go to SmackDown as champion, and then Ronda's gonna feud with Charlotte, or Sasha Banks will beat Charlotte, and then Sasha will feud with her, whatever. Asuka's just gonna tear, and then it's gonna lead up to like Ronda versus Asuka.
Rousey wins the second Women's Royal Rumble.
I honestly think that's the match.
I agree.
You
All right,
streak
guys.
versus streak or something.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Writes itself.
We booked this shit. All right, guys.
We
Thank you
booked.
very much for tuning in tonight. This is Sit Down and Pile Drive. I'm Connor Bradley.
I am Connor Griffiths.
You guys have a good night.
Take care.